Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 5TOFL. Chapter 24. The Fall of Light. Day 5 is here, so here's another chapter, hope you enjoy it. CYA. You managed to survive that, I must say, I'm impressed, Licht said with an approving nod. Impressed my ass, you're really starting to piss me off, Yami said as he charged forward towards the light mage. Don't you underestimate me, it's time I show you the power of a magic knight captain. Hey Captain Yami, what are we supposed to do? Asta asked. What are you talking about? You and Kenos can go fight that spatial guy, use what you've learned, the dark mage replied. Yes sir. You ready, Kenos? Asta asked, turning to his squadmate with a serious look on his face. The solar mage nodded before giving the same look. You know it, he replied. This can be my chance to use ki. It appears we both have an enemy to fight, good luck to you, Valtos, Licht said as the two began running towards the black bulls. And the same to you, Master, Valtos said back as they divided, each going to meet their targeted enemy. You told me that you wouldn't let me get another hit on you, why don't I just prove you wrong quick, Yami reminded his opponent as his grimoire flipped through pages. Dark magic. Dark cloak dance of the eclipse. He exclaimed as a black mass surrounded him before vanishing. Where did he go? Licht wondered aloud before Yami appeared right behind him. This spell is really handy for getting the drop on opponents, time to get that hit in, Yami said as Licht's face contorted in surprise, the captain's katana became enveloped in darkness as he prepared to strike. An impressive attempt, Yami Sukahiro, but I intend to stay true to my words, light creation magic, radiant shield of justice. Licht exclaimed as a circular shield of light with intricate designs appeared on his back, protecting him from the dark mage's attack. Damn it, and I was so close to doing it too, Yami muttered as he jumped into the air to strike Licht from his front side. You didn't think I'd fall prey to an attack like that, did you? Licht asked rhetorically as he jumped out of the way. I think it's time I got a little more serious. As that's so, then I guess I could do the same, Yami plainly retorted. Light magic. Sky-rending flash. The light mage exclaimed as the orbs of light appeared again, firing their beams. Yami quickly anticipated the movements and backed out of the way, but just as he did, a shadow loomed over him, he looked up to see that it was Licht. Huh. Unlike the last time, I won't give you time to recover, light magic is the greatest attribute when it comes to speed, so I'll take full advantage of it, light magic, light swords of conviction. He exclaimed as the swords of light descended on his opponent. Shit, Yami muttered as he tried to quickly cut the swords before they hit him, but he wasn't prepared for them directly after another attack, allowing one to bypass his watch, forming a decent-sized cut on his shoulder. The light mage grinned as he saw this. It seems I was the one who was able to land an attack in this time. Don't get used to it, Yami said as he charged forward, darkness covering his blade once more. Licht knew what he was going to do and formed a singular light sword as the two clashed once again, exchanging attacks over and over. The dark mage continued attacking, but he also used this as a chance to look at his opponent's grimoire. His facial expression slightly changed as he backed up from Licht, a strange look was on his face. What's with that look? Is something the matter? Licht asked, confused by the contortion of his enemy's face. Yami pointed at him. Your grimoire, it's from the Clover Kingdom, not to mention it has 4 leaves, that's a rare one you got on you, he stated with a bit of a carefree tone. Licht raised a brow. That's correct, what about that is a problem? You have a grimoire of this kingdom, yet you want to usurp it, is that right? The dark mage asked. The light mage nodded. That's right, the people in this kingdom are corrupt and selfish, and they must be eliminated, having a grimoire native to this kingdom doesn't change that goal one bit. Yami silently gritted his teeth at his opponent's words, his mind went back to something Julius told him when he first came here, so many years ago. Your name is Yami, right? Hello, it's nice to meet you, my name is Julius Novachrono, I've heard from the people around that you're not from here, well, let me be the first to formally introduce you to the Clover Kingdom. I know it could be strange at times, but you'll love it here, I promise you, the Wizard King told him, all with a big smile on his face and his eyes full of joy and enthusiasm. Yami gripped his katana tightly. You know something, light guy. He began. And what might that be? The dark mage's face grew deadly serious. I was sort of sure of it when we were first introduced, but now it's official. I really don't like you. You might have been able to deflect my attack on me earlier, but that's because I was underestimating you, so I won't do it again. Valtos exclaimed as he fired an array of spatial orbs at the 2 black bulls, with the spherical projectiles coming from a variety of directions. However, that did not faze the swordsman as he gracefully sliced every orb that came his way in half, with the Demon Slayer's sword in his left hand, and the Demon Dweller's sword in his right, he grinned. This is awesome, thanks to learning ki, I can anticipate and counter every single one of these attacks. The swordsman was doing incredibly, The solar mage, however, not so much. He had done his best to use ki, but he kept failing every time. He then resorted to using his eyes and ears to anticipate the attacks, although it wasn't as effective as the powerful technique. Why is this happening? Why can't I do it? Asta practically picked it up instantly and is using it like a pro. I know that Captain Yami said that it would probably take some time for me to learn, but he also said I had the right idea, so shouldn't I be able to just use it a little bit? Keno's thought with a tone of great frustration. Valtos noticed the solar mage's struggle from afar. That boy with the swords is countering all of my attacks, but that other boy is a different story. He's just barely managing to hold on. I should take advantage of that while I have the chance, he said as his grimoire flipped to a page before stopping. Spatial magic. Swift space slash. He thought as he did a cutting motion with his hand, sending a purple crescent-shaped slash at Keno's, while maintaining the array of orbs descending on the magic knights. Just keep going. I can do this all day. Asta exclaimed as he continued to cut or deflect the orbs. He then looked over to see how Keno's was doing. A small frown touched the swordsman's face when he saw his squadmate struggling, but he then noticed something, some sort of purple attack, heading straight for Keno's. However, the solar mage was too busy trying to avoid the orbs to notice it. Keno's, look out! Asta exclaimed as he ran in front of the black-haired mage and crossed his swords, protecting his friend from the attack. What in the world? Keno's wondered aloud as he just saw Asta standing in front of him. Is something the matter? Valtos sent an attack your way, but I saw you didn't notice it, so I came to guard you, Asta replied. Oh, well thanks a lot, watch out. Keno's was about to say, but ended up exclaiming as an orb struck Asta right in the shoulder. Ah, the swordsman said in pain. That one hurt a lot more than the ones he was firing at us in the beginning. He meant what he said, he isn't holding back. I'm sorry. Asta turned to his squadmate. His face showed sadness, but mostly anger. Keno's, he wasn't able to finish as the two were put back on the move evading spatial spheres. What do you mean? Why are you sorry? Keno's sighed as he struggled to cut every orb that came his way. It's obvious that ki is needed to get the upper hand in this fight, but I can't use it, while you can. While I'm doing my best just to not get hit, you're successfully cutting or deflecting every orb in your vicinity. You even had to move in to protect me from Valto's attack, and that left you vulnerable, which in turn got you hurt. I'm a liability to you. Asta peered at his injured shoulder before shaking his head. You're wrong, you're not a liability. What? Even since I met you, when we fought together, you were never, ever, a liability. Sure you can't use ki right now, and sure I might get hurt protecting you from a few attacks, but don't think that makes you any less capable in this situation, Asta told him. You really think so? Keno's asked. You bet, the swordsman said back, doing his best to give a thumbs up. Thanks, the solar mage said back. Asta nodded as he began to think. It's good that Keno's is feeling better, but we have to find a way to beat Valtos. He's been keeping us at bay for all this time, and we haven't had a single chance to go on the offensive. He's creating portals in random spots which in turn let him fire orbs from random spots, so what I have to do is anticipate where he'll make a portal before an orb comes out of it, and with ki, I should be able to now. Although he was moving a lot, Asta began to take deep breaths. Concentrate, focus, anticipate where the portal will be, you can do it, he thought deeply. He then turned his hand sideways, and lo and behold, a portal formed right there. Alright, here we go. Asta exclaimed as he quickly threw his swords to the side, the two blades lodging themselves on the ground. Valtos was taken aback. You've thrown your only weapons aside. Have you gone mad? Not even close. The swordsman retorted as he slightly crouched down before jumping into the air, right into the portal, soon appearing right in front of Valtos. This is called winning, he exclaimed as he punched the spatial mage right in the face, sending him into a wall. However, this time he fell unconscious. Dark magic. Dark cloaked lightless slash. Yami exclaimed from afar as he fired the slash of darkness at Licht. The light mage dodged it, but Yami merely used it as a way to reconvene with Asta and Keno's. How are you two holding up? The captain asked. Just fine. Did you see it, Captain Yami? I beat Valtos with one hit, all thanks to ki, Asta said ecstatically. Is that so? Well, nice job, kid, Yami said back before turning his attention to the solar mage. And what about you, Keno's? Keno's sighed. Still no luck. I see. Well, it's like I said, you'll learn it eventually, the dark mage said to him. Keno's wanted to change the subject. So, how are you holding up? Yami groaned as he blew smoke from his cigarette. That light bastard is really troublesome. I can see why he's the leader of their little group. Meanwhile, Licht landed on the ground after dodging Yami's lightless slash attack. He turned his head to see Valtos, unconscious. Valtos, they hurt you again. Now they're really going to die, the light mage muttered as he watched the three black bulls standing together. His grimoire flipped through pages. Light binding magic. Light chains of bondage. At his call, Yellow chains of light constricted around the feet of the three enemy mages. What the? I can't move my legs, Yami said, bewildered by the sudden confinement. I can't move either, Asta added. Hey, Kenos yelled in Licht's direction. What have you done? This is a binding spell of mine. I don't use it very often since it's very ineffective against moving targets, meaning whoever I choose to use it on must be standing still, the light mage explained. Well, that explains why he didn't use it against us earlier, Kenos muttered to himself. And now that you can't move, it's about time that I finish you. Behold the strongest spell I have. Licht exclaimed as he floated into the air, his grimoire flipping through one page. The mage was then surrounded by a large sphere of yellow translucent light. It will take some time to charge, but once it's finished and I release it, the three of you are dead. Wait, you said that the spell will just take some time to charge, so what, you think we're just going to sit around and let you do it? Do you take us for idiots or something? Kenos asked rhetorically as his grimoire flipped to a page. I do have an option. We can still move our arms, so I'll just show you my own mightiest attack, Solar Cross Destroyer, then we'll see who'll be dead. I wouldn't do that if I were you. When I'm charging this spell, it becomes very sensitive to outer contact. If you use your spell, my spell would explode, destroying everything around it, and I think you know what will happen to you all if it does, Licht said back to him. Oh, well damn, the solar mage said plainly. I don't have any more options. Good, so accept your fate. Mages of the Black Bulls, it's been an honor to fight you, but your time has come to an end. Licht exclaimed as his attack continued charging. The faces of the three mages contorted to one of fear and uncertainty. Ah shit, they all thought. Gauche, are you out there? Finral exited the cave and ran outside. The spatial mage of the Black Bulls was met with a cold breeze that came with the snow and wind. Finral, we're over here. A voice exclaimed. He turned to see Gauche calling to him. Beside him was Marie and Marco on his right with Teresa and Nej's unconscious bodies to his left. The rest of the children were behind him. There you are. Kenos told me you were outside, Finral told him. How are they doing in there? The mirror mage asked. They're doing just fine. Captain Yami is in there with them, the spatial mage replied as he formed a portal. Let's get these kids back to the town. Gauche went first, carrying Teresa and Nej. Finral stayed on the other side to make sure all the kids got through and that none were left behind. He also carried the three unconscious children as he was the last to go through the portal before it closed behind him. The mirror mage looked behind him and saw the footprints Asta had found earlier. They were now lightly filled with snow. All right, all of you go back to your parents. Gauche exclaimed to them. They didn't wait for another second to do what they were told. Thank you, they exclaimed back. The night was then filled with the joyous sound of parents reuniting with their children. The cries of relief echoed into the sky. Gauche and Finral smiled. I guess we can say this is a mission accomplished, the spatial mage said. Not yet, Gauche said back as he motioned to Teresa and Nej who were behind him. We're going to need to get these two some medical attention. Hey, you there, Black Bulls. A voice exclaimed. The two mages turned to their left to see a man wearing a cloak. It's a capital mage, Finral noted. If anybody's been injured, bring them into this house, we'll heal them. He exclaimed. All right, let's bring them over there, the spatial mage said as he and Gauche ran over to him, but as they got close, the capital mage noticed something. Excuse me, sir, is there anything wrong with those children? He asked, pointing to the three kids Finral was holding. I'm not too sure. Their magic signatures are pretty weak though, Finral answered. The mage walked over to him and inspected them. Well, from what I can see, they've suffered no forms of physical damage, all they need is some rest. The spatial mage nodded. Thank you, Gauche, take those two to the house to be healed. I'll go ask around if there are any parents who are missing a child. Once I'm done, I'll meet back up with you. Okay then, the mirror mage said as they split ways. Wait brother, I'm coming with you too. Marie exclaimed as she ran in his direction. We're coming too, Luca and Marco added. Shouldn't you head back to your sister's house? Gauche asked. Not yet, we want to make sure Sister Teresa is alright, Luca replied. The mirror mage sighed. Fine then, you can come, he said as they arrived at the house. Once they walked inside, they noticed 3 beds and 5 more capital mages. Gauche laid Teresa on one bed and Nej in another. 3 mages walked to each one and cast their healing spells. A light surrounded her. The old lady began groaning. Gauche quickly walked to her side as she began to slowly open her eyes. Where am I? You're back at the town, Gauche quickly replied. You took a bad hit back at the cave. Right now, you're being healed. Is that you, Gauche? She asked before a small smile appeared on her face. I wanted to tell you that I'm proud of you. You came back to help us. Don't get your hopes up, old hag. I only came back because Marie asked me to, the mirror mage said with crossed arms as he averted his gaze from the nun. I know, Kenos told me, but at least I know that you can fight for others, you crazy sister lover, she said. So, where are the others? Are they back at their homes? No, they're still fighting that licked guy in the cave, but my captain is helping them too, he replied. I see. Ah, Teresa said before exclaiming in pain. Sister Teresa. The three children exclaimed. Damn it, she's a lot more injured than we thought, increase the strength. One of the capital mages said as the light around her became brighter. Oh no, don't you dare die on us. Gauche exclaimed, pointing to Marie, Marco, and Luca behind him. Marie still needs you, and so do the rest of these kids, you can't leave, Teresa. Although she was still in pain, the old lady chuckled. Teresa, you know, it's actually kind of strange to hear you call me by my actual name. The only other time you've ever said it was when we first met. You remember that time, right? Well duh, how could I forget? Marie was in it, Gauche replied plainly. You can be a real idiot sometimes, you know, Teresa said as the two of them thought back. Flashback. Town of Neen. 2 years ago. Neen. Now, where is that damn town? Gauche wondered aloud as he flew through the sky, looking for the large town. In his hand was a map given to him by a mysterious stranger who merely sent it to him via a spatial portal. The mirror mage kept looking down to see a large landmark that Neen had. A large clover on the top of one of the town's biggest buildings. Where is that clover? Gauche asked himself before finally noticing what he was looking for. He grinned. Finally, I found it, he said as he descended. Upon landing, he began looking around. Damn, this town is pretty big once you're on the ground level, he quickly noted. But that's not why I'm here to see a very special person. Gauche. A voice exclaimed from behind the mage. He turned around and smiled at the person in question. Marie. Gauche exclaimed as blood ran down his nose. He ran towards his little sister and picked her up. It's so good to see you, Marie, and check it out. The mirror mage pointed to his black bull's robe. You're looking at a magic knight. Really? Awesome, you're so cool. The little girl happily exclaimed. I'm glad that you think so. He looked around. So, this is where you've been staying? Marie nodded. That's right. The people here are really nice to me, she replied with a smile. That's good to hear, Gauche said with a smile on his face as well. There you are, Marie, I was wondering where you went, a voice said. The two siblings turned to see an old lady walking to them, wearing a nun's attire. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to worry you, Sister Teresa, Marie said as she beckoned Gauche to put her down. She then walked to the nun. Who are you? The mirror mage asked plainly. I am Teresa Rapul, Marie's caretaker, and based on the information I've been given, you must be Gauche. I've heard many things about you, and not many of them being good, but I decided to not listen to what others say about you and see what you're like for myself, she explained. Wait a minute, you're telling me that Marie's caretaker is some old hag? There's no way I'd allow that. Marie is my angel, she must be given the utmost of protection from anyone who wants to harm her. And you don't look up to it, Gauche said disapprovingly. Old hag. Well, it appears what the people said about you were true, but I assure you I'm more than capable of taking care of Marie. I also teach other children, Teresa said. Those other kids don't matter to me, only Marie, Gauche said as he took out his grimoire. Teresa raised a brow. And what are you doing? I'm going to test how strong you are right now. You say you're more than capable of caring for Marie, then prove it, show me what you've got. Gauche explained. Please don't fight, one of you is going to get hurt. Marie exclaimed with a tone of worry as Teresa rested her hand on the girl's head. Don't worry, Marie, this appears to be the only way to convince him. I promise that I won't hurt him too badly, Teresa reassured her. Okay then, Marie said as she backed up from them, giving them room for an ensuing battle. Teresa took out her own grimoire. I'll be kind and let you have the first shot. Don't underestimate, hag, or else you'll regret it. Gauche exclaimed. The nun sighed. Fine then, so be it, flame magic, sacred fire stream. She exclaimed as she fired a horizontal stream of flame at her opponent. Nice try, mirror magic, mirror shift. Gauche exclaimed as the two mirrors formed. He disappeared by one and appeared by the other, evading the attack. You're going to have to try harder than that, he continued as he did it again, this time, appearing right behind the old lady. Mirror magic. Reflect ray. He exclaimed, firing the beam of light. Teresa, however, quickly jumped into the air to dodge the mage's attack. What the? Gauche said, surprised that a woman of her age could pull off such a feat so quickly. You told me not to underestimate you, so don't underestimate me. Flame creation magic, hammer of wrath. Teresa exclaimed as a hammer made of fire materialized on her left hand. She then swung it back, preparing to strike once she landed on the ground, which was going to happen in a matter of seconds. Ah shit, Gauche muttered as she landed, striking him with her hammer. The mirror mage laid on the ground, defeated. No way, I only got to launch one attack, he muttered. I believe that now you can see that I can take care of Marie, and if you ever doubt me, remember that I was going easy on you today, she said to him. Gauche slowly got up and put his grimoire back in his satchel when Mare walked over to them. Well, I guess Marie is in safe hands, he said as he took Marie's hand. Come on, time for some brother-sister bonding. She nodded and the two began to walk away, but then the mirror mage turned around. You cared for my sister when I couldn't. I guess I owe my thanks, Teresa, he said before turning around and walking away. End flashback. I swear you were just a little more respectable back then, Teresa said in between breaths. Whatever, you beat me, no point in saying something until I could become stronger than you, the mirror mage retorted. As that, so, she said, her voice starting to weaken. Hey, you're going to be all right, hold on. Gauche exclaimed to her. Come, closer, Teresa said. Gauche did as he was told. The old lady placed her hand on his cheek, that part of his face glowing a reddish orange. You said that. Asta and Kenos were still in the cave. I want you to go and help them. If you won't do it for me, then do it for Marie and the children. Fine then, I'll go, but stop talking like this as your dying wish or something, Gauche said to her, his voice becoming a little more worried. Good, it seems you're not a total delinquent after all, Teresa said as she let go of him and closed her eyes. Teresa, Teresa, Gauche yelled. Sister. The children yelled too, tears were in their eyes. The mirror mage grabbed onto the collar of one of the capital mages. You useless bastards, how could you let her die like that? Excuse me sir, but, she's just fine, the mage said back. Huh, was all Gauche can say as he processed what he was just told. Please, do you mind keeping it down? That screaming of yours is making my eardrums bleed. Gauche looked down to see Teresa, her eyes open, a small smile across her face. Damn you, what are trying to do you stupid old hag, give me a heart attack. Gauche exclaimed. Suddenly, the entrance door to the house opened and Finral walked in. Okay, I brought the children back to their parents. Is there anything else that needs to be done? Yes, one more, I need you to teleport me back to the cave, Gauche said. What? Finral asked, confused by what his squadmate just asked. Please, I'm begging you, take me there, they might need me, Gauche said as he put his head down. You don't have to beg, just know it's a good distance away, so I'll only have enough magic left to teleport you there for now, the spatial mage informed him. That's all right with me, let's go, Gauche responded. Okay then, Finral said as he made a portal, the two magic knights then entered it, ready for the battle on the other side. It'll just take a little longer to charge, then all of you are finished. Licht exclaimed as his spell continued gathering power. So, attacking him won't work, do we have any other plans? Kenos asked. Yami turned to Asta. Hey kid, is it possible for you to deflect the attack back at him? The swordsman shrugged. Maybe, but it's not likely. If this is his strongest spell, there's no way I can deflect it back. It's even harder since I can't move my feet to position myself properly, he replied before he realized something. Oh, wait, never mind. I threw my swords to the side before punching Voltos, so I can't even reach them right now. Damn it. Well, we do have one more option left, Yami told them. The two boys raised a brow. And what might that be? Kenos, use Amaterasu's guard, and I'll use a spell of my own. We'll chain defense spells and hope that it'll be enough, Yami explained. But, will it be enough? Kenos asked. The dark mage looked uncertain. I don't know, but it's our best bet right now. Okay then, Kenos was about to say when a portal appeared in front of them. Gauche and Finral then ran out of the portal, the latter catching his breath from transporting from a long distance. Gauche and Finral, Asta wondered aloud. Thought you might need some help, so I had Finral bring me here, the mirror mage explained. Well, what perfect timing, why don't you take a look behind you real quick, Yami said. They did so and widened their eyes at the spell ready to be released on them. That spell looks really powerful, and it feels powerful too, Finral said. And we're kind of stuck here too, Kenos pointed out, motioning to the chains binding them. It seems like more black bulls have come. Fine then, I'll eliminate you all at once. Licht exclaimed. That's where you're wrong, Gauche said as he stepped forward. I've got this. All right then, prepare to die. Licht exclaimed, his attack ready. This is the end, light magic, ray of divine punishment. At his call, a destructive beam of light raced towards them. Your spell is strong, but no amount of light can defeat a mirror. Gauche exclaimed, his grimoire out. Mirror magic. Full reflection. He exclaimed as a large mirror appeared in front of him. The beam of light then hit the mirror, reflecting right back to its origins. What? The light mage yelled as the beam hit him full on, sending him to the ground. The chains then disappeared, freeing the three. All right, thanks a lot, Gauche. They said to the mirror mage. Don't mention it, he said back. Hey, Don't forget about me, I got you here, Finral barged in. Oh yeah, thanks, Finral, Ghosh said as the spatial mage gave him a thumbs up. Licht and Valtos had been defeated. But elsewhere, in an undisclosed location, Sally was suspended in a tube full of a green liquid. In front of the tube, stood a group of 3 people, standing proudly before it. One was a man, one was a woman, and the other was like some sort of beast. Well, Licht's not doing too well, the man began. So I guess it's finally our turn to join the fight. Chapter 25. Eyes of Sin. Hey there, readers, day 6, the week is almost over, here's today's newest chapter, enjoy. CYA. I gotta hand it to you, light guy, you gave us quite the struggle there, Yami said as he blew smoke from his cigarette. The 5 black bulls moved in on the light and spatial mages. They both did, but we won in the end, Kenos added. The leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, let's capture him and take him to the capital, I guess Leopold and Oksana will get some hits in after all. Licht began to slowly open his eyes, he looked around, soon noticing the mages in front of him. The 5 magic knights readied themselves in case their opponent was to try something, but he didn't. Oddly, the light mage's eyes fell on Ghosh. It's good to see you again, after all these years, tell me, how's your sister doing? He asked with a weak, yet oddly genuine smile. Everyone turned to look at the mirror mage. You know this bastard? They all asked at once. Ghosh wasted no time shaking his head. Nope, I've never met this guy before in my life. Or did you meet him, but was too busy fawning over Marie? Kenos asked suspiciously with crossed arms. I'm telling you I don't know him, I think I would have remembered someone like him. Ghosh exclaimed. As that's so? Yami asked rhetorically with his usual plain tone. Well, I guess he must have just gotten his ass kicked so hard, he's gone crazy. Mock me if you will, but all will be made clear, in the near future, the light mage said, his voice a bit chipper. I don't know why you sound happy, this fight has come to an end, and you've lost, we're going to take you in, Asta glared at the man. That's where you're wrong, swords thief, Licht began. I may have lost to you, but this fight is not yet over. What's that sound outside? Eon asked as she, Rebecca, and Noel continued to sit inside the restaurant, until they heard noises coming from outside. It sounds like kids. Rebecca realized as she got up and sprinted outside, the other 2 girls behind her. The children are being reunited with their parents, Noel pointed out with a small smile on her face. Which means they did it, thank goodness. I bet you're also glad that they're safe, especially Asta, Eon whispered with a wink. The water mage's cheeks turned rosy. I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not worried about him at all, she said with her arms crossed and gaze averted. After a few seconds, she then turned around to face the green-haired girl. But this can be your chance, when they come back, you can shoot your shot with Kenos, she fired back with a sly grin. I wonder if he'll feel the same way. Eon groaned and turned away from her. Okay, I get it, no more teasing. While the 2 girls were talking to each other, Rebecca was calling out to her younger siblings. Luca, Marco, are you out there? Please answer me. Noel and Eon joined in looking for the 2 scarlet-haired children, but there was no sign of them. I don't see them, where could they have gone? They should be here with the other children, right? Rebecca asked aloud, panic was clear in her voice. Hey, calm down, there's no need to panic, I bet they're somewhere around here, Eon said, quickly coming to her friend's side before resting her hands on the girl's shoulders to comfort her. The water mage began thinking of where the kids could have gone, but just then, she felt something land on her head, she looked up and saw Nero. Oh wow, he finally decided to rest on my head, he's so adorable, but what's he doing here? I thought he would be with Asta. She thought before the anti-bird flew off of her head. Hey, come back, I was just beginning to enjoy it, Noel said comedically before noticing that the bird was pointing its wing at a small building not too far from them. That house, could it be? She whispered, before running to the other girls. Rebecca, Eon, it's Nero, he's pointing to that building, I think he's trying to lead us there. Maybe the kids could be inside. It's a possibility, let's go, Eon nodded as the 3 of them quickly made their way to the building. Once they entered, it didn't take long to find who they were looking for. Luca, Marco, the 2 of you are safe. Rebecca cried as she embraced her brother and sister tightly. What happened? Why didn't you come back to the house? You had me worried. Sister Teresa got really hurt, so we came here to make sure she was all right, Marie replied for them. The scarlet-haired girl broke from her embrace as she stood up, now noticing the old lady laying on a nearby bed, her eyes closed, capital mages were standing around her. Is she? Don't worry, she'll be fine, she's just resting, an unfamiliar voice said. They all turned to see Nej, sitting up from his bed before getting off and walking over to them. Who are you? Eon asked. My name is Nej, my brother and I, he began with a somber tone. We're the ones responsible for kidnapping all the children. You! Rebecca exclaimed as she slapped the snow mage right in the face. I almost thought I'd never see them again, and it's all because of you. Nej made no attempt to protect himself, nor did he retaliate. His face had a sad tone of nonchalance as he merely placed his hand over where he had been slapped. So that's how it feels. Look, if you want to hit me again, go ahead, relieve all of your anger on me. It's what I deserve, what I did was wrong, and I've already decided to turn myself into the Magic Knights, but it won't be that bad, he said before he cracked a small smile. Because after I pay for my crimes, Asta and I will become friends. Asta told you that? Noelle asked as Nej nodded. Well, I guess that makes sense, you neither look nor act like a genuinely horrible person. She then looked at the kids again, but her eyes widened as she noticed something. Marco, what are you wearing? The scarlet-haired boy looked down as the royal walked up to him. You mean the robe? Asta gave it to me before he and the others entered the cave. I had to be left alone by myself, but he told me that it would fill me with courage, he replied. Courage. Noelle was confused. Marco nodded. That's right, it's the reason you Magic Knights wear them, right? Yeah, that's exactly why, she replied before smiling. Asta, you idiot, she thought. Speaking of Asta, where is he? You all came back. I didn't see him come out of the cave, but I remember hearing Sister Teresa tell Ghosh to go and help him, but I'm not sure with what, Marco replied. Not sure what? Noelle wondered before she walked to the window, looking outside as the snowing finally stopped. Please, everyone, please be okay. This fight isn't over. What the hell are you talking about? Yami wondered. He then turned to the 4 black bulls behind him. I'm running a bit low on magic after fighting this guy. Do any of you have a binding spell? The solar mage raised his hand. I got one. Good, so get to it, the dark mage said plainly as Kenos moved up on Licht and Valtos. His grimoire flipped to a page. Solar binding magic. Sunbound, he was about to cast the spell when he, along with everyone else but Asta widened their eyes. The swordsman looked around him. What's the matter, guys? I'm sensing such a strong amount of mana, it practically came out of nowhere, Finral replied. But it doesn't just feel like one signature, it's more than that, Kenos said, looking down. And the feeling is coming from right below us. Everyone, back up. No one wasted a second before jumping back a good few yards away from where the strong signatures of mana were coming from, but just then, a purple portal appeared right there. A portal? But that's impossible. I knocked Valtos out cold, Asta said with shock, recognizing the portal as one the spatial mage would create. But from the portal, 3 people began to rise up from it. Some seconds passed before they were fully revealed. One was a man. He had messy black hair with patches of white around it. He wore darkish blue pants and shirt, with a cloak the terrorist mages wore and a red tattoo on his left cheek. The other was a woman. She had long pink hair. She wore a furry maroon dress, and over it was her white cloak. She had a purple crystal embedded into her forehead. Right below it was a red tattoo. The last one didn't look like the others. His skin was tan with hair growing on his arms and chest. Like a beast, he had long blonde hair. He wore blue shoulder pads, with his cloak wrapped around his waist, leaving his chest bare, and there was a red tattoo on his nose. Whoa, who the hell are these 3? Yami wondered aloud. The man turned around to look at Licht. It seems you're having some trouble, let us take over for you. The woman walked to Licht, bending down to face him. You look hurt, let me help you. She touched him. He became enveloped in flame with a wing spawning from one side. She then walked back to the other 2. You dare hurt Licht. Prepare to die, the beast man said ferociously. I told you the fight wasn't over yet, and now you can see why, Licht said. The 3 leaves of the Clover Kingdom represent faith, hope, and love. Kenos was confused. Why'd you mention that? Because these 3 mages are the exact opposite of those representations, the light mage explained. He pointed to the man. The mage who counters the first leaf of faith, Raya the disloyal. The man named Raya yawned into his hand. Hello there. That's me, he said plainly. Licht then pointed to the beast man. The mage who counters the second leaf of hope, Veto the despair. Veto punched his fists together. Prepare to fall into despair as I pound you into the ground. Licht then pointed to the woman. And finally, the mage who counters the third leaf of love, Fana the hateful. A small lizard-like dragon climbed up to Fana's shoulder. I hate all those who hurt Licht. You hurt Licht, so you will die. These 3 are the greatest mages in the eye of the midnight sun, even surpassing my own strength. They are known as the Third Eye. Licht finished introducing them as the 3 mages stood fiercely before their opponents. The Third Eye, I'll admit, those are some cool sounding titles, but titles aren't everything, Yami said with a glare. Raya yawned again. That's true, but, he began before speeding over to Yami, placing his hand on the dark mage's grimoire. We live up to those titles. The black bulls widened their eyes at the speed of the mage. Yami couldn't even pick it up with his key. However, once Raya stopped, the captain wasted no time drawing his katana to attack, but his opponent quickly moved back. Damn it, I'm low on magic. I wasn't planning on fighting, but it seems I don't have a choice, Yami said as darkness enveloped his blade. You're Yami Sukahiro, right? And you use dark magic if I'm not mistaken. That's quite interesting, Raya said with a small smile. So, what of it? Just know that you're going down. Dark magic. Dark cloaked lightless slash. He exclaimed, firing the slash of darkness. The three members of the Third Eye quickly jumped into the air, evading the attack. So that's how you use your magic. Why don't I have a try? Raya said as he landed on the ground. He then took out his grimoire and pulled a sword out of it. A sword? He must have steel magic then, Keno said. Wrong. I don't have steel magic, but you'll get a front row seat to see what it is. He exclaimed as his sword became enveloped in darkness. What the hell? How is he doing that? Ghosh asked with surprise. Let's try this out. Copy dark magic. Dark cloaked lightless slash. Raya exclaimed as he fired a slash of darkness at the magic knights. The five looked in complete shock at the attack being sent toward them before Kenos quickly stepped up. I got it. Solar creation magic. Amaterasu's guard. He exclaimed as the goddess blocked the attack. Nice save, Kenos, Finral said as the solar mage merely nodded. Hey, how the hell did you use lightless slash? That's my move. Yami exclaimed. He called the attack. Copy dark magic, Asta recalled. So is his magic. Copy magic. Copy magic. The others asked. Bingo. He's right. I use copy magic. It allows me to replicate the attribute of any mage, as long as I can touch their grimoire first, Raya explained. That explains why you got close to me earlier, Yami realized. The copy mage nodded. Right again. I even got close to you by using copy light magic from Licht. Copy magic, an attribute that has no allegiance, it assimilates with other attributes, a type of magic truly fitting for one with the name. Disloyal, Keno stated. Yeah, I know that, but I don't mind, Raya said to him, before turning to Beto and Fana. Let's go you two. Our first target is the captain of the Black Bulls, he's the most capable mage among them. Right, they responded as Beto raced forward, while Fana stayed back, the beast man took out his grimoire. A magic knight captain, I've never fought one before, let's see if they're as strong as I've heard, Beto said as his grimoire flipped to a page. Beast magic. Bear claw. He exclaimed as a large translucent orange claw appeared on one of his hands, he then made a striking motion, sending 3 slashes at Yami. Beast magic. Yami wondered aloud as he dodged 2 slashes and blocked one with his katana. It makes sense, going by your appearance. The beast mage evilly grinned. Impressive, it seems you are as strong as I've heard, he then turned his head. Fana, you're up. Get ready, Salamander, the woman said as the lizard on her shoulder softly roared. Wait a minute, that's Salamander. Kenos exclaimed, a bit of shock was in his eyes. So what, is that little creature supposed to be special? Asta asked. The solar mage nodded. You better believe it, Salamander is the flame spirit, and one of the 4 great spirits, he replied. Spirit, so it's like Bell, the swordsman realized. That's right, I can't believe the Eye of the Midnight Sun has a mage who was chosen by a spirit, Kenos stated. Flame spirit magic. Salamander's breath. Fana exclaimed as the flame spirit opened its mouth, releasing a blast of fire. Despite the small size of the lizard, the range and force of the attack was massive. Captain Yami. Finral exclaimed as he formed a portal right beside the dark mage, he wasted no time jumping in and dodging the attack, appearing right next to his squad. These 3 are no joke, Yami said, blowing smoke out of his cigarette. Thanks for the save, Finral, but I have to get back out there. The dark mage charged forward once more. Raya moved up as they both raised their swords to strike, their blades clashed fiercely, darkness emitting from each one. We can't just stand here, Captain Yami will need our help, Kenos, Ghosh, let's go. Asta exclaimed as he drew both blades from his grimoire, charging forward, the mirror mage running behind him. Kenos, however, stayed back, his eyes quickly fell on Licht, who was still recovering from Fana's spell, the light mage was most likely still vulnerable from being hit dead on with his own strongest spell. I'll wait until I'm sure none of them will notice me, then I'll go over and bind Licht, then I can use him as leverage, or better yet, if Finral can make us another portal, I can capture him then we'll just escape, the solar mage thought with a grin. Ghosh stood up on his broom as he flew forward, nearing Fana. Take this, you may have a spirit, but I don't give a damn, mirror magic, reflect refrain. He exclaimed as the mirrors appeared and shot their beams of light. Fana merely looked at the mirror mage nonchalantly as her grimoire came up to her. An attack like that won't reach me, my hate shall not be extinguished, flame spirit creation magic, dragon wings. She exclaimed as glowing red wings hovered above her back, the wings flapped, thrusting her directly upwards, avoiding each of the individual beams. Salamander wasted no time opening its mouth, releasing another powerful blast. Mirror magic. Mirror shift. Ghosh exclaimed as he dodged the blast, but he grit his teeth. She effortlessly evaded one of my best spells. This isn't going to be easy, he muttered. Veto watched as Raya clashed blades with Yami. He ran towards them and jumped into the air, landing next to the copy mage. Mind if I join you? He asked with a grin. Be my guest, Raya replied with a small smile. The two charged forward. You just made this harder on me, Yami said as he was quickly forced on the defensive, having to either block or dodge an incoming attack. Dark magic. Dark cloaked dance of the eclipse. At his call, he disappeared, reappearing right behind them, his katana raised into the air. Time for me to get back on the offensive. Dark magic. Dark cloaked black blade. Yami exclaimed as made a slashing motion, sending the lone slash of dark mana on his foes. Not bad. I can see how you were able to take on Licht, but he wasn't lying when he said we were stronger than him. Copy light creation magic. Radiant shield of justice. Raya exclaimed, forming the shield to protect him and the beast mage. Wow, well that feels like deja vu, Yami muttered, remembering a similar thing happening when he fought Licht earlier. Captain Yami, don't worry, I'm coming. Asta exclaimed as he jumped into the air. Before landing in between Yami and the two enemy mages, he then spun around quickly and moved up, trying to get a hit in, but the copy and beast mages merely jumped out of the way. The swordsman stopped spinning and held his swords firmly. I'll help you. You've come to help me. Well, thanks, I guess, Yami said plainly. Hey, what do you mean, I guess? Asta exclaimed comedically. Veto on the other hand, was surprised as he looked at Asta. Raya, look at what that shrimp's holding. Raya looked at him and was just as surprised. The demon slayer's sword, and the demon dweller's sword, why does he have those swords, how did he even get them? I don't know, but those don't belong to him, they belong to the master. Licht most likely noticed it as well and tried to take it for the master himself, the beast mage replied. From afar, Kenos looked around and saw that the members of the third eye were finally occupied, he could move in on Licht. I'll be back, Finral, solar reinforcement magic. Sunshine aura, he said as the aura surrounded him. Where are you going? The spatial mage asked. I'm going to capture Licht. Keep quiet so that they don't notice me, the solar mage replied, quickly yet stealthily moving towards the light mage. I'm getting close. Once I get close enough, I'll cast my binding spell and restrain Licht, Kenos thought to himself as was soon a few feet from the light mage. This is it. Let's try this again. Solar binding magic. Sunbound. He was going to cast his spell, but was interrupted as a strong gust of wind suddenly blew, but then, Kenos saw a tall figure in front of him, the figure in question being Veto, his shadow looming over the solar mage, a grin on his face. And what do you think that you're doing? The beast mage asked sarcastically. I'll give it to you, kid, I almost didn't notice you, but then I spotted you thanks to my peripheral vision. There's no way I'm letting you harm Licht in any way, he exclaimed as he got ready to punch Kenos. The black-haired mage quickly crossed his arms to defend himself as the punch made contact. Kenos was then sent flying, he crashed into a wall, falling to the ground. Kenos. Everyone exclaimed. Damn it, that guy can really throw a punch, I'm having trouble feeling my arms, Kenos muttered as he got up and slowly walked over to Finral. Are you alright? Finral asked with concern. Yeah, I'll be fine, my arms just feel a bit numb and my back hurts, but I'll manage, the solar mage replied. It seems my plan didn't work, that Veto guy is crazy strong and crazy fast. Mirror magic. Real double. Ghosh exclaimed as his clone appeared, both of them flying after Fana, who still had her wing spell cast. See if you can dodge this, mirror magic. Double reflect ref. He didn't get to finish as Fana zoomed right in front of him, she did a quick vertical turn, kicking Ghosh with the heel of her foot, knocking the mirror mage off his broom, and letting him descend to the ground, his clone vanished. No way, how did she know which Ghosh was the real one? He thought as he kept falling. I'm not done, flame spirit magic, salamander's breath. Fana exclaimed as she positioned herself downwards, the lizard beside firing its devastating attack. Shit, it's too fast, I can't use mirror shift in time, the mirror mage muttered as a spatial portal appeared, Ghosh falling into it, he landed beside Finral and Kenos. Thanks. Ah. Ghosh, Kenos said, quickly moving to his squadmate, he saw a burn mark on the mage's shoulder. It seems you didn't completely get away from it, solar recovery magic, healing rays of the dawn. The solar mage weakly placed one of his partially numb hands on Ghosh's arm, and another on his own thigh, the two began glowing orange. Copy light magic. Light swords of conviction. Raya exclaimed as the light swords rained on Yami and Asta, the two swordsmen quickly cut them apart. This guy is good, but I'm not giving up. Asta exclaimed as he charged forward at Raya. Those swords, Once we take out Yami Sukahiro, I'll be taking them, the copy mage thought as his grimoire flipped to another page. Copy gel magic. Sticky salamander. He exclaimed as the slimy lizard appeared in front of him. Oh damn, not that again. The swordsman exclaimed, trying to maneuver around the spell, but the lizard's arms elongated, grabbing Asta and sending him hurtling towards a wall. Yami quickly moved back to where his squad was. The three enemy mages reconvened as well a good distance from them. Man, those guys are good, Finral said. Asta gripped his swords and stood up. Perhaps, but I'm not done yet. Yami put an arm in front of the swordsman. Nope, you're definitely done. Leave these three to me, he said. His squad was surprised by his statement. But Captain Yami, even with Asta and Ghosh helping, you couldn't beat them. Are you seriously going to take them on alone? Kenos asked with some concern. Don't worry about me. This will be a perfect chance for me to break through my own limits. As a captain, I have to keep getting stronger, he told the solar mage as he gripped his katana and slowly walked forward. The dark mage pointed his blade to his opponents. All right then. Come at me, you bastards. Copy magic, beast magic, spirit magic. I don't give a single shit about any of that. Just know that I'm going to kick your ass. That's some big talk you got there. You're strong, but you can't beat all of us alone, Veto said. Well, why don't you come over here and prove it, if you can? Yami taunted them. What a pain. Let's show him, Raya exclaimed as he and Veto charged forward with Fana staying back to provide long-range attacks. Copy spatial magic. Swift space slash. Raya exclaimed as his sword fired one of Valto's spells. Yami quickly dodged it as Veto came charging in. Playtime is over. Beast magic. Striking ox. He exclaimed as an orange silhouette of an ox appeared beside him as he reeled his fist for a punch, bringing his fist forward at high speed. The ox beside him charged at the dark mage. Yami used the side of his katana to block the majority of the strike's force, but was pushed back a considerable number of feet. Raya jumped from behind Veto, ready to attack. He zoomed over using light magic and raised his sword to strike. Yami wasn't positioned to block, but his reflexes and ki kicked in, letting him just dodge the strike by a few centimeters. My reaction time to their attacks is getting a bit better, but they're still a bit sloppy, Yami thought. He backed up to allow himself some time to get on the offensive. Don't think we're going to give a chance to fight back, Raya said as he jumped up, revealing a salamander's breath that was already on its way to the Black Bull's captain. Yami quickly limboed, keeping his lower body straight while bending his upper body backwards to just barely avoid the attack. Unfortunately for him though, Veto and Raya were in the air, ready to take advantage of his compromising position. Copy dark magic. Dark cloaked lightless slash. Raya exclaimed. Beast magic. Bear claw. Veto joined in. Shit, Yami mumbled as the attacks made contact. The other Black Bulls watched as their captain was sent flying towards a pile of rubble. Damn, wasn't expecting that to happen. The copy and beast mages landed on the ground and stood proudly. So, what happened to that talk of beating all three of us? Veto taunted. Fall into the despair of your inferiority. Oh, shut up, Yami said back. I just need to catch my breath, then I'll kick all of your asses. You act like we're going to just let you do that, Raya said. Everyone, attack now, he exclaimed as all three of them fired a respective attack at the Black Bull's captain. Captain Yami, we have to help him. Asta exclaimed, ready to charge forward. We can't, with the speed those attacks are moving at, we'd never make it time, Kenos told him, letting go of Ghosh and himself as his recovery spell faded. What about you, Finral? The swordsman turned to the spatial mage. Can't you make a portal for him to go out from, or use one to take out the attacks? Sorry, but no, my mana was already low when Ghosh and I got here, then I made 2 portals for Captain Yami and Ghosh earlier, so it's going to take some time before I can do anything else, Finral replied. Asta grit his teeth in frustration. Captain Yami. Don't worry, Asta, I'll be fine, it's moments like this which let me break through my limits, he slowly gripped his katana. Bring it on. But, just as those attacks were about to make contact with the dark mage, the ceiling of the cave that was above him suddenly broke and 3 individual spells came down from it, each cancelling out the attacks by the third eye. Huh. The word came out of everyone's mouth as they wondered where the attacks could have come from. It appears the foreigner is having some trouble. What the hell are you doing, Yami? Don't tell you're down on the ground already, you may be a man, but I expected more from you. The sound of 3 voices echoed throughout the cave, while the third eye wasn't aware of who it could have been. The younger Black Bulls recognized the voices somewhat, but wasn't able to put their finger on it. Yami, however, merely groaned. Ah damn, they're here, he said as 3 figures landed right in front of him. It was then that the Black Bulls knew who the voices belonged to. No way, I didn't think they would be here, Kenos muttered with widened eyes. In front of Yami was Nozzle Silva, captain of the Silver Eagles. To Nozzle's left was Charlotte Rosalie, captain of the Blue Rose Knights, and to her right was Jack the Ripper, captain of the Green Praying Mantises. Wow, they got here quicker than I thought, Finral spoke up. Ghosh turned to him. What do you mean? After leaving the cave, I thought Yami might have needed some help, so after dropping the 3 kids with their parents, I called them and asked them to come before meeting back up with you, the spatial mage explained. It's a good thing we got here just in time, Nozzle said, turning to face Yami. You should be grateful we came to save you. Yeah, whatever, I was just about to break through my limits when you barged in, he fired back. I also see that you're still rocking that goofy-looking hairstyle. Nozzle's eye twitched as he turned his head away. My hair doesn't look goofy. You're still spouting that limits bullshit, how ridiculous can you be? Jack laughed. I wouldn't say that if I were you, Beanpole, it's what's made me stronger than you for all these years, Yami retorted. This isn't the time to be bickering, Charlotte said to the 3 men as she turned to the dark mage, a serious look was on her face. And how long do you plan on just laying there? Sorry, I can't get up, I guess this rebel just loves my ass too much and won't let go, Yami replied with a relaxed tone. You're so serious, that's just like you, prickly queen. Charlotte turned her head back, but unlike Nozzle, her cheeks bloomed bright red. Lucky rebel, I wish that I got to sit next to Yami, or maybe somewhere else but beside him, but why must I be so dishonest with myself? That and I wish he'd stop calling me prickly queen, she thought, the tone of her voice a lot less professional than how it usually sounded. Nozzle looked at the third eye. Those appear to be our opponents, he then noticed the light mage behind them. But who's that? His name's Licht, he's a light mage, and the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, Yami replied. I've also been told that he's the one who took Fugalian's arm. Nozzle and Charlotte's eyes widened at that revelation, the Mercury mage's eyes, however, soon darkened. So he's the one, he mumbled to himself. It seems that more captains have come, what a pain, I was hoping to finish this quickly, Raya said, he then looked at Charlotte. Well hello there. Charlotte glared at him. Be careful there, prickly queen, that guy has copy magic, he can copy your magic if he touches your grimoire, he already got mine, it's really pissed me off, Yami told her. As that's so, she wondered as she turned to face the copy mage, a determined look was in her eyes. Oh, this guy is mine, nobody makes Yami mad on my watch and gets away with it. She thought as she pointed at Raya. I'll be your opponent. Alright then, bring it on, Raya said as the 2 ran towards each other. Ooh, I want to fight one of them, Jack said as he set his eyes on Veto. Hey, Hairball, I think that you'll make a fine opponent. Hairball, oh, you're going to regret that. The beast mage exclaimed as he charged at the captain. Nozzle, however, didn't pay attention to Fana, he was only focusing on Licht who was behind her. I have no quarrel with you, the one I want is behind you, I will have my vengeance, Mercury magic, silver shining regal spear. He exclaimed as a long beam of Mercury shot forward, the captain zigzagged his hand, causing the spear to do the same, bypassing Fana and heading straight for Licht. Flame creation magic. Protection of Ifrit. Fana exclaimed as a fiery demon appeared in front of Licht, it raised its hands forward, protecting the light mage. She then turned to face Nozzle, her face full of silent rage. You dare try to hurt Licht, I'll kill you. You wanna call me a hairball like I'm some dumb cat, we'll see who's laughing once I'm done with you, beast magic, bear claw. Veto exclaimed as he fired his spell. Beast magic. Interesting, Jack said back as blades grew out of his arms. Severing magic. Death scythe. He exclaimed as he launched a green slash of mana, canceling out Veto's attack. You're not too bad either, beast magic, cheetah charge. The beast mage exclaimed as large orange constructs appeared on his feet, looking like those of a cheetah's, he charged forward a lot faster than he did before. Jack quickly jumped out of the way, an ecstatic grin was on his face. Now you really are like some dumb cat, severing magic, death sickle storm. He exclaimed as he violently spun around, firing an array of slashes, causing Veto to cross his arms to defend himself. Ha, there's no way you're going to beat me, I'll slice you up beyond recognition. The severing mage exclaimed. Copy dark magic. Dark cloaked black blade. Raya exclaimed as he launched a lone slash of darkness at Charlotte, but she was able to dodge it quite effortlessly. You dare use Yami's magic, briar magic, lash of blue roses. Charlotte exclaimed as a multitude of vines came out from her grimoire, speeding towards Raya. The copy mage skillfully danced through the vines, cutting them as he did so. You have an interesting attribute, mind if I use it? You may not, I know how your magic works, I won't let you touch my grimoire, the briar mage said as he pulled out a whip made with multiple briars. Prepare to be defeated, you foolish man. Mercury magic. Rain of silver. Nozzle exclaimed as the mercury rained on Fana. Flame spirit creation magic. Dragon wings. Fana exclaimed as the wings appeared and she flew out of the way. You're not the one I want. My business is with Licht. The Mercury Mage exclaimed. I already told you. I won't let you harm Licht. I will be your opponent, Fana countered as Nozzle grit his teeth. Fugolon, my rival, you're the one I've always strived to beat, but now you can't fight anymore. I swear that I'll get revenge, and I hope you wake up soon. I don't want to lose anyone else, he thought as 3 spears appeared behind him. His eyes were deadly serious. Fine then. Normally I would never say this, but, bring it on, bitch. With the others fighting, Yami gathered his strength and slowly got up. The others ran up to him. Are you okay, Captain Yami? Kenos asked. Yeah, I'll be fine, he replied. That's a relief, Finral said before looking at the separate battles. Those 3 are strong, they're not captains for nothing. I better get back out there. I've caught my second breath. I'm ready to fight again, Yami said as his eyes then fell on Licht. I wonder if the light guy is ready to go again. He turned to Asta and Finral. I have a plan, but I'll need you too. Ah, I think I've fully recovered. I won't waste any more time. I'm taking those grimoires, Licht said as he sped over to Asta and Kenos, ready to take them by surprise. Hi there, it seems you are ready to fight. The light mage stopped midway as Yami appeared next to him. Licht sped up into the air. Damn, you're able to keep up with me. No matter. Light magic. Light swords of conviction. Yami quickly dodged all of the swords, raising his katana proudly at his foe. Thanks to Ki, there's no way that spell is ever working on me again. Licht grit his teeth as the dark mage began running. Finral. Now. I'm on it. The spatial mage exclaimed as he formed a portal flat on the ground, letting Yami drop right into it. Where'd he go? The light mage mumbled, but then he grinned, looking up, and lo and behold, Yami was right above him. Not a bad plan, but I can sense your mana. You can't escape from me in midair, Licht said as he prepared to fire at the dark mage. But to his surprise, Yami grinned. What's so funny? I can't believe how easily I got your attention on me, he replied. Time for our real attacker to strike. Huh, Licht muttered as a figure quickly appeared right behind him. That figure was none other than Asta. He's talking about me, the swordsman exclaimed. What do you need us for? Asta asked curiously. If Licht is ready to fight again, this could be our chance to take him down, Yami replied. Thanks to my ki, I should be able to evade his attacks now. So, what are we going to do? Finral asked. Well, if he is ready, he'll be coming for us since he's after Asta and Kenos grimoires. When he does, I'll move in. He'll most likely try to attack. I'll then evade them, Yami explained. Then that's where you come in, Finral. You make a portal on the ground and transport me above him. But Captain Yami, won't he be able to sense your mana? Kenos asked. That's what I want him to do. That's where Asta comes in. He'll be the trump card. I'll draw his attention. Then you strike, the dark mage explained. The swordsman nodded. Right, I'll even give you a chance to attack. Yami grinned. Thanks, now let's get to it. Do it, kid, Yami exclaimed. He was their true attacker, but I couldn't sense his mana. Does he not have any? Licht thought. This is it, Asta exclaimed as he struck the light mage with the demon slayer sword. The third eye and the captains all turned at the sight of Licht, and their eyes widened in disbelief as they saw Asta strike Licht. Now it's my turn, Yami said as he attacked with his katana, launching Licht to the ground. No way, that peasant boy was able to land a hit in on a mage who's strong enough to cut off a captain's arm, Nozzle muttered. Licht, the 3 mages exclaimed. Suddenly, the light mage glowed a light shade of red as he floated up into the air, then a circle appeared around. It was black with a red outline, and strange markings were on it. You, the light mage pointed at Asta. Those swords don't belong to you, they belong to the master. Someone like you shouldn't even be allowed to touch it. Master, Asta wondered aloud. And you, he then pointed to Kenos. A sacred one aligns with you, though I don't know why, but you're just as undeserving as the sword thief. There he goes again with that sacred one stuff. What does that even mean? I have no idea, Kenos muttered. Shit, Licht's seal has been undone, but how? Raya said. Seal. The copy mage was a bit reluctant explaining it to enemies, but he decided it wouldn't do any harm. Licht has a lot of mana in him, much more than he can control, so a seal was put on him to keep his magic power in check, but now it's been undone. It must have been when I hit him. My sword negated the magic of his seal using anti-magic, Asta spoke up. Anti-magic? Since when could the demon slayer sword do that? Raya wondered. Doesn't matter. What matters is that if Licht releases all of that magic, this entire cave is going to explode. Great. Not this again, Kenos said with a groan before his expression became serious. He turned to the spatial mage. Finral, can you make us a portal to get out of here? We can just leave those 3 to die. Sorry, I'm still low and I just made a portal for you and Yami, he replied. Damn it, the solar mage muttered, but then he saw Raya running towards Licht. His eyes were serious. Fana, Veto, We have to move quickly if we're going to handle this. The copy mage exclaimed as the other two left their opponents, quickly running beside Raya. They then each stopped at one point around Licht. Get ready. Raya exclaimed as a reddish translucent aura surrounded him. The same thing happened to the beast mage and the flame mage. They each then shot their aura right at the light mage. Combo spell. Trinity sealing magic. They exclaimed. The circle around Licht disappeared and he fell to the ground. I got you, Veto said as he gently picked up the light mage. Raya turned and saw Valtos not too far away. He walked over and picked up the spatial mage. Okay then. Change of plans. We're retreating. We have to make sure Licht is doing all right. The three mages reconvened as Raya formed a portal similar to Valtos below them. You might have won today, but the same won't be true next time we meet. Goodbye for now, he said as they sank into the portal before it disappeared. All right. This fight is finally over. Asta exclaimed before dropping to the ground and passing out. I know. It's felt like so long. How much time has passed since we first got here? Kenos wondered aloud as he sat down on the ground. Well, it seems we're no longer needed here. I'm out, Jack said as he turned around and walked away. I must get going too, Charlotte added with a small smile in Yami's direction as she walked away too. Nozzle, however, looked intently at the swordsman. That boy, Asta, he's an interesting one, he thought before leaving. Okay then. Once Finral recharges his magic, we're heading back to the town, Yami said, glad the fight had finally come to an end. Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, Licht and Valtos were suspended in a tube of green liquid next to Sally. In front of them was the third eye along with Raids and Annalise. What happened to them? Annalise asked worriedly, her gaze falling upon Valtos. From what I can get, they were beaten by the Black Bulls, Fana replied, her tone a lot more normal than how she spoke to her enemies. And you three got beaten too, so much for being our best, Raids mumbled under his breath, but it didn't go unheard. You got a problem? Veto asked menacingly, turning to the Wraith Mage. And nothing, he replied. That's what I thought. Well, what are we going to do? The Magic Knights will try to find out more about us. They know about you three and Licht now. Annalise asked. And we can't forget that Catherine most likely got captured. If they find some way to make her talk, they'll find out everything about us. Raya looked at the Spark Mage before turning around and beginning to walk away from the others. Where are you off to? Veto asked. Annalise has a point. If they find out about us, it'll be a big pain. So I'm going to go do something. I'll be back around tomorrow, the copy mage replied. But what I'm about to do will be an even bigger pain. Chapter 26. A Traitor Among Us. Hey there, readers, sorry this chapter was late. Today's my mom's birthday, so I haven't gotten a chance to type earlier. Here's the last chapter. I hope you've enjoyed this string of chapters. CYA. What's going on? Where am I? Asta mumbled to himself. His vision only showed darkness before he slowly opened his eyes and the light of a room became visible. To his side, he noticed Kenos, the black-haired mage touching him with both hands. K. Knows. He saw the solar mage talking to someone else, but his words were inaudible. But then, he turned to look at him, his face giving a small smile before facing whoever else was in the room. He spoke words again, but this time, the swordsman was able to hear what they were, though it was still pretty quiet. Hey, everyone, Asta's finally up, Kenos said with a happy tone. He took his hands off the magicless mage. Asta groaned before sitting up. He turned in the direction Kenos was looking at to see Noelle, Rebecca, her siblings, Eon, Finral, and Yami. Hey there everyone, where am I? We're at the restaurant. This is a different part of it which is private, Rebecca replied. After our fight with those members of the Third Eye, you passed out, Finral explained. I see. How long has it been since then? Asta asked. Almost a day. You were asleep for the remainder of the night, and were already a good amount of hours into the afternoon, Kenos replied. You slept off a good amount of your injuries, and I just healed you quick to make sure you're doing all right. Thanks, the swordsman said as he held his previously injured shoulder and began turning his arm like a windmill. Well, it's a good thing that you're up, kid, Yami said, although he wasn't smoking a cigarette. Finral's magic is back at full, so we can head back to the base. Yes sir, Asta said as he stood up, but as he did, his stomach growled violently. He grabbed it intently. Oh damn, I'm really hungry. That makes sense. You haven't eaten in hours, Noelle spoke up. I know, why don't you have breakfast here, our treat? Eon suggested before turning to Yami. If you want, you can stay too, we have enough food. Yami politely waved his hand in a refusing manner. Thank you, but I'll be fine. I need to head back to my base, he said as he held his stomach. I have some important business to attend to. Finral, a portal. On it, the spatial mage said as he opened a portal. I'll stay here with the others so they don't have to fly all the way back. The captain nodded as he walked into the portal before it closed. Oh, that reminds me, where's Gauche, Marie, Sister Teresa, and Nej? Asta asked. Well, Nej turned himself in. Some capital mages happened to be here last night and he left with them earlier, Kenos replied. As for the other three, he pointed to the main area where the customers would sit and eat. The swordsman walked to where the solar mage pointed to and saw the three people, Teresa and Gauche standing across from each other, with Marie standing beside the nun, hand in hand. It's been less than a day, but you're already back on your feet. Not bad, you old hag, Gauche said. I'll take that as your way of saying you're glad I'm better, Teresa said back before she gripped Marie's hand. Marie and I should head back to the church. Wait a minute, we haven't got to spend any time with each other, the mirror mage protested. That's not my problem. Besides, I don't think your captain would be happy if you were to stay here for another day, the old lady retorted. Gauche comedically sank to the ground on his hands and knees. No, it's not fair. Brother, Marie muttered. I'll admit, your circumstance is unfortunate, but it is what it is, I'm afraid, Teresa said. Let's get going, Marie. The little girl nodded. Okay, bye Gauche, I'll see you next month, she said as the two walked past him. Just wait, the mirror mage said as he got up. Teresa turned around to face him. Gauche, however, had his back turned to her. Please, continue to take care of Marie for me. You don't need to worry, I'll keep her safe, the nun said as she and Marie walked out. Asta gave a small smile. It's good to see him getting along with her a bit better. Same here, Kenos added as he walked next to him. Gauche then walked outside. What are we waiting for? Let's get breakfast ready, Eon said to Rebecca. She then turned to Noel and Finral. Hey, do you two want to stay for breakfast? Yes, thank you very much, the water and spatial mages replied as they bowed their heads down respectfully. Rebecca and Eon then made their way to the kitchen and began cooking a variety of different breakfast items, filling the building with its aroma. Once they were done, they set large platters of everything on the benches where the others sat. Thank you for the food, it smells really good. Asta exclaimed starry-eyed as he dug into the food quickly, shoving furkfuls into his mouth. And it tastes great too. The other three black bulls ate at a more moderate speed. Be careful there, Asta, I know you're hungry, but you don't want to choke, Finral told his squadmate. Right, sorry, he apologized as his eating speed slowed down. Hey, Asta, the swordsman turned to his left to see Marco. Is something the matter? The scarlet-haired boy shook his head. No, I just wanted to give this back, he revealed the black bull's robe. Thank you for lending this to me. Asta smiled. No problem, I'm glad it could help you, he said as he took it from the boy and put it back on. Rebecca smiled, glad that her siblings were back home safely, thanks to Asta. I want to thank him, but how should I do it? She looked at Eon, remembering what she told her just the night before. The scarlet-haired girl clenched her fist tightly as she walked forward. Asta, she said. The swordsman stood up as she neared him. Thanks a lot for breakfast, that really hit the spot. You're welcome, she said as her cheeks turned slightly red. And there's something I want to tell you. Oh, what do you want to tell me? Asta asked. Rebecca then moved in, bringing her lips to Asta's face as she kissed him on the cheek. Not an eye in that room didn't widen, even Asta's. Asta was speechless. Rebecca backed up from him. I wanted to thank you for rescuing Marco and Luca and bringing them back to me. Oh, it was nothing, but it wasn't just me, I had help, Asta said as he nervously scratched the back of his head. Ah, Noelle mentally screamed as if she was some kind of banshee, unable to believe what Rebecca just did. Finral, however, reacted quite differently. Instead of mentally screaming or being angry, tears fell down his face as he made a comedic facial expression. No fair, he's so lucky. Eon grinned. Now that's what I call shooting your shot, she thought as she looked at the two black bulls beside her, but focused mostly on Noelle. What are you going to do? Are you just going to stand there, or are you going to make your own move? The water mage merely crossed her arms and turned around, her cheeks were a bit rosy. The green-haired girl shrugged. I guess she's not going to do something, she thought before her eyes fell on Kenos. For some reason, she could feel her stomach tighten. She began thinking about what Rebecca and Noelle said to tease her the night before. Damn those two, Eon muttered as she started walking to the solar mage. Hey, Kenos. The solar mage was still taken aback by Rebecca's sudden action before he noticed Eon and stood up. Oh, sorry Eon, did you say something? I didn't hear. He didn't get another word in as Eon pressed two fingers on his lips and gave him a quick peck on the forehead. Everyone else's eyes widened again. Come on, him too, the spatial mage muttered. I'm older than both of them, why do they get all the luck? Rebecca and Noelle grinned, glad the girl had made a move of her own. Eon's cheeks were slightly pink. Rebecca's not the only one who's grateful. I want to thank you for saving Marco. Oh, and Luca too. Hey, Luca exclaimed as she ran to the green-haired girl. Why'd you mention me last like that, as if you don't care that I'm okay, you? She didn't get to finish her statement as Eon quickly embraced her. Of course I care that you're okay. Please don't make me worry like that again. You're like my little sister. I love you, she said with a small smile as tears slowly dropped from her face. Even though we fight and say mean things to each other, I could never hate you. Eon. Luca muttered. She never knew the older girl saw her like that. The scarlet-haired girl returned the embrace, not saying a word in response. Everyone smiled as they all finished their breakfast. Finral then stretched. Well, we should get going. I'll go outside and see if Ghosh is there, he said, exiting the establishment. It was nice seeing you two again, Keno said. But we were supposed to come here on a day off, but we get hurtled into action anyways. True, but we're magic knights, we should be ready to get into action at a moment's notice regardless, Asta said. You're right, but it wouldn't hurt to have a real day off. This is the second one we've had where we had to stop someone, Noel said back. You really have it tough, Eon chuckled. Hey, Finral said, walking into the restaurant. I found Ghosh, let's go. Alright, we're off, CYA around, Keno said. Rebecca and Eon smiled. Same. Bye Asta, bye Kenos. The children exclaimed. The three black bulls walked outside towards Finral and Ghosh. Asta smiled. If you don't count that interruption, Neen was a pretty cool place to visit, he said before he felt pecking on his head. He looked up to see Nero. Hey Nero, did you enjoy your trip? The anti-bird gave no response as they made it to where the mirror and spatial mages were. The fives of them then entered the portal as it closed behind them, ending their time in the town of Neen. On the other side of the portal, the five stepped out and came face to face with the hideout. It's good to be back. It's felt like some time since I've last been here. They walked up and opened the door, and were immediately welcomed to a riot. Their squadmates were everywhere. It was complete chaos. Wow, it's been some time since I've seen the others like this. Now it really makes you feel that you haven't been around in a while, Kenos noted. Luck, you bastard, Magna exclaimed before he noticed the five mages at the door. Well, would you look at that? You four are back. We didn't see you for all of yesterday. Then Finral and Captain Yami left after you, the flame mage said. Luck landed next to Magna. Captain Yami got here earlier and told us you fought some really tough people from the Eye of the Midnight Sun. That's right, it was incredibly tough. We weren't able to win against the last group of opponents though, they just made a tactical retreat. We also had some help from other captains too, Kenos replied. Ah, I wish I could have gone too, but here I am stuck with Magna, the lightning mage pouted. You take that back, Magna exclaimed as Luck laughed and ran away, the shad-wielding mage hot on his tail. What idiots, Ghosh muttered as he walked in the direction of the hall. I'll be in my room sulking over my missed opportunity with Marie, don't bother me. As the mirror mage entered the hallway and was out of view, Yami came out of the hallway. A bit of serious look was on his face, and in his hand was an open piece of paper. He looked at the ones who just came. You guys are back. Sorry that you couldn't spend your day off the way you wanted to, but look on the bright side, at least you aren't dead, he said as his expression lightened, even managing a laugh. That's sort of like what I said. Asta exclaimed. Well, good for you, kid, and speaking of you, Yami said as he walked to the swordsman and grabbed his head with one hand, lifting him into the air. I'm going to need you to come with me. Ow, that hurts, why do you keep doing this to me? Asta screamed. And where are we even going anyway? To the capital. Julius wants to see the two of us at headquarters, the dark mage plainly replied. Alright, another chance to see the Wizard King, he's so cool. Asta exclaimed, but this time with joy as Yami released him. Let's get going then. Finral, a portal to the capital, Yami ordered. On it, the spatial mage replied as he formed one of his portals. Okay Finral, I'm leaving you in charge this time, you know the rules, if anything gets broken, you're dead, the captain's voice was strangely casual. Finral silently gulped. Don't worry, Captain, I'll make sure to keep everybody under control, he replied as the two black bulls walked into the portal. Once they appeared on the other side, it closed behind them. Yami and Asta looked at the familiar sight that was the Magic Knight's headquarters, but this time, standing not too far from the building was a man with turquoise hair. The dark mage raised a brow as he and Asta walked up to him. Well, hello there, assistant, did Julius send you to greet us or something? The man groaned. Please Yami, could you refrain from calling me assistant? My name is Marx, he said as he looked at Asta. Hello there, we haven't met before, I am Marx Franchos, an advisor to the Wizard King. It's nice to meet you, Marx, my name's Asta, he greeted respectfully. Marx nodded. Yes, I already know who you are, we did ask for you specifically, we're going to have a conference between the Magic Knight captains and you have a part to play in it. Really, what do you need me to do? The swordsman asked. Why don't we enter the building before we discuss it any further? Marx suggested as he walked inside, the other two right behind them. They walked down a large hallway before they arrived at a split stairway path. The flight of stairs to their left went up, and the ones to the right went down. The turquoise-haired assistant turned to Yami. You can head upstairs to where we usually meet for meetings, the others should be there already. The dark mage pulled out a cigarette from his pocket as well as a small magic item to light it. Once it was lit, he put it in his mouth and blew out some smoke. Okay then, have fun kid, he said as he walked upstairs. Where are we going? The magicless mage asked curiously. Marx pointed at the staircase going down. We're heading down there, he replied as the two did so. The stairway went down for some time, and as they descended further, the lighting around them became dimmer, taking on an ominous blue color. Wow, this place is kinda scary, Asta remarked, though his tone and demeanor showed he wasn't frightened at all. True, but it's easy to get used to after some time, Marx responded as they reached the end of the staircase. We've arrived. So, where are we exactly? Asta asked. A good question. This is the part of headquarters where we interrogate criminals, a voice replied suddenly, startling the swordsman a bit. However, once he turned in the direction of the voice and saw who it was, he grinned. It was Julius, and he was standing next to what looked like an iron door. Sir Wizard King, it's so good to see you again. Asta exclaimed starry-eyed. Likewise Asta, but you don't have to be so formal with me, you can just call me Julius, the time mage said to him before turning to Marx. Thank you for bringing him to me, Marx. It was of no trouble at all, Julius, the man said back. Oh, and Asta, Yami told me of how the Black Bulls helped the people in Neen when their children were kidnapped. I was very impressed and sent 3 stars to your squad, Julius recalled before his facial expression became a bit more serious. He and Kenos also told me that the ones responsible for it were the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and that you had a run-in with them. Asta nodded. That's right, we were able to meet that guy we saw when the capital was under attack and I was captured. He's a light mage as well as the leader of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and his name is Licht, he replied. But it's not just him, we also met 3 mages who went by the group name, the Third Eye. The Third Eye? Julius asked. Yes, each mage countered one of the leaves on the standard Clover grimoire, Asta replied. I also remember Licht saying that each of them was stronger than him. Julius closed his eyes and stroked his chin. If that's true, it's going to get really bad for us. As such, we must obtain any advantage we can against them, which leads to why I called you here. Whatever you need me to do, I'm ready, the swordsman declared confidently. That's the spirit. Let's head into this room. Your task awaits you in there, Julius said, beckoning to the door beside him. Okay, let's do this, Asta said as Julius opened the door and the 3 people walked inside. The first thing that Asta noticed was the decent number of capital mages that were present in the room, standing silently at ease. When they saw the Wizard King, they did a quick Clover salute before moving to the left and right, revealing an old woman who was bound on a slab of iron, light emitted from her bindings. The magicless mage was a bit taken aback before quickly regaining his composure. Who's this old lady? Don't call me old, I'm young, and beautiful. The lady exclaimed furiously. And a little crazy it seems, Asta thought to himself this time as to not let the woman hear what he thought of her. This woman's name is Catherine, she's an ash mage who was working with the Eye of the Midnight Sun. During their attack on the capital, she was subdued by 2 magic knights, your friend, Yuno, and another black bull named Charmy, Julius explained. Alright, those 2 did a great job, Asta said in praise of his rival and squadmate. The time mage nodded. Yes, we've been trying to get information out of her, but she won't talk. Of course I wouldn't talk. Why would I? I'd rather die than turn my back on the Eye of the Midnight Sun, especially Master Licht, Catherine spoke up. When the world dealt me a bad hand, he came to me, he gave me a brand new life and a brand new purpose. I would never even dream of repaying such kindness with betrayal. Wow, she's really serious about them. It's just like what happened at the cave. When Valtos was injured, Licht went mad. Despite the fact that what he's doing is wrong, Licht genuinely cares about all of them, and because of that, their loyalty to him is ironclad, Asta thought. So, is she related to my task? Julius nodded as he turned to face the swordsman, his face was dead serious. It is. I'm going to be blunt with you, Asta. The attack on the capital was both unexpected and catastrophic, but what's strange about that is that there's supposed to be mages running a magic barrier around the capital to both detect foreign threats, and protect us from it, but that wasn't the case here. I see, that is strange, Asta held his chin as he thought about it. The only logical reason to how this could happen is if the mages who control the barrier were taken down by something, or someone, Julius continued. Asta's eyes then widened. You don't think? The Wizard King caught on to what the Black Bull was thinking and nodded his head. Yes, if my assumption is correct, that means, there is a traitor among us, most likely one of our captains as the barrier mages are quite capable and can't be taken out by just anybody. Asta froze in place, his face showed fear and shock. A traitor was among them. And whoever the traitor was most likely a captain. But who could it be? What motive could they have? What could they even stand to benefit from? I can't believe it. I thought the same thing, so that's why we're doing this, to find out who, Julius said. And although we couldn't make Catherine talk, Marx does have a spell which lets him search through people's memories. Marx stepped forward. Unfortunately, a spell's been cast around her which doesn't let me do so. Whoever put it on her had probably known she would get captured, he said before turning to Asta. But that's where you come in. Your task is to use your anti-magic sword to nullify the magic protection around her. You can count on me. Asta exclaimed as his grimoire came out in front of him and he pulled his demon slayer sword and neared the ash mage. No, don't get near me, stay back. Catherine exclaimed. No can do, Asta said back as he tapped Catherine's head with the cross guard. A blue outline of light was then visible on her head before it shattered. And there we go. Thank you very much, Asta. Now it's my turn, Marx said as he walked up and Asta walked away. The assistant's grimoire came up to him and flipped to a page. Memory exchange magic. Memoir absolute. He exclaimed as a blue sphere appeared a good amount of feet above Catherine. It then shot a beam down with 5 horizontal lines in between them. Once it happened, screens appeared from the horizontal lines, putting the old lady's memories on display for all to see. Asta especially noticed the memory of her being defeated by Yuno, and then Charmy shortly after. A grin crossed his face. As well as letting us see her memories, she is compelled to answer any question she is asked truthfully, Marx explained. Good, that's exactly what we need, Marx, Julius began, turning to his assistant. Please head upstairs, and bring the captains down here. It's time we find out who the traitor is. There we go, I made it. I wonder what everyone else is doing in there, Yami muttered to himself as he arrived at the door of the room where the captains met. The dark mage opened the door and saw the other captains sitting down doing a variety of things. Nozzle merely crossed and closed his eyes as he sat quietly. To his left was Dorothy Unsworth, the captain of the Coral Peacocks. As usual, she was fast asleep, softly snoring. To her left was Gildray Poizot, the captain of the Purple Orcus. He merely rested his face on his palm as he twiddled with his other hand. Then there was Jack, the Severing Mage has created a long blade on his left arm. He then grew a short blade on his right hand as he sharpened the long blade with the short one. As for Rill and Charlotte, unlike the others present, and although there was an open chair in between them, they had actually engaged in small talk, talking about whatever captains talked about. It seems everyone is doing their own thing, Yami said as he walked up, catching everyone's attention. But we're missing some people. I know Fujiolian isn't awake, so he can't be here, but what about our golden boy, William? I don't know, but it's super strange. He's never late, he's usually the first person to show up, Rill stated. Yami went over and sat down between Rill and Charlotte. He ruffled the young captain's hair. How's it going there, kiddo? And hey there, prickly queen. Rill smiled at the Black Bull's captain while Charlotte blushed. Wow, Yami's sitting right next to me. This is exactly what I wanted yesterday. Now all I have to do is say something, but I was already talking to Rill. Ending my conversation with him would be rude. Wait, I know, I should try to include Yami into our conversation. It's genius, she thought. She cleared her throat as she turned to the dark mage. Yami, Rill and I were having a conversation before you got here, and now you're in our way, but since you're here, why don't you join us? She asked, trying to sound as professional as possible. Sure, why not? Yami replied. We were talking about our futures and what we want to do in about 10 years from now, Rill explained. 10 years Yami wondered aloud before turning to Charlotte. Well, I know what you won't be doing in 10 years, or anytime soon. Get married, not with all that talk about the battlefield being my only partner. Charlotte's cheeks turned as red as a tomato before she did her best to recompose herself. You're one to talk. I doubt that you'll ever get married either. I can't say much about you that a woman would find appealing, she retorted. However, it was a different story in her mind. What the hell are you doing, Charlotte? Not much about him that women would find appealing. He's Yami. Everything about him is appealing. Now stop being a dishonest idiot and say what you really feel. Yami merely chuckled. Yeah, you're not entirely wrong. Tell you what, when we're both old and still single, wanna take care of each other? He asked. Take care of each other, as if we were married. Well, why wait until we're old? Nothing like the present. Oh wait, I know why. I can't say those 3 damn words to his face. Charlotte thought frantically. The Briar Mage then buried her face into her hands. Everything all right, prickly queen? Yami asked. I'm just fine, she replied. All right, if you say so, he said before he realized something. Hey, shouldn't Julius be here by now? Not sure. We've been here for a decent amount of time before you arrived, Gildray replied. He's right, Waiting here for Julius to come is starting to get boring. Rill stretched before something popped into his head. I have an idea. Why don't we all play a game to pass the time? No, Nozzle quickly replied. His arms remained crossed, and his eye remained closed. We're Magic Knight captains, we shouldn't play games before an important meeting. Ah, you're no fun, Bradalox, Rill fired back. The young captain's remark earned a chuckle from the other captains. Yami, however, burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, Bradalox. It suits you so well, with that hair and all. The Silver Eagle's captain finally opened his eyes, and they were greatly annoyed. Shut up. Stop making fun of my hair, you stupid foreigner. You seem more annoyed with me than usual, I can feel it in your key, Yami pointed out with a tone of sarcasm. Let me guess, is this about taking Kenos from you back at the second entrance exam, isn't it? Of course not, Kenos made his choice and I must respect it. Besides, Dante is on my squad, we both have a Rossiu in our ranks, Nozzle stated. True, and speaking of Rossiu, Yami began, turning to Rill. One of your members stopped by our base 2 days ago, Zuka. Yeah, she told me one of your members wasn't feeling too good, so I permitted her to go so she could cheer him up, Rill responded. I hope there isn't a problem. No, I just wanted to thank you, the Dark Mage said, his voice losing its sarcasm and becoming genuinely serious. Say what you will about my squad, but I care for all of their well-being. Kenos was in a slump, then Zuka came and helped him feel better, thanks for letting her do it. No problem, Rill said as he scratched the back of his head. He wasn't used to being praised by his peers, especially the captain of the Black Bulls. Then suddenly, the entrance door opened and William walked inside. Everyone looked at the captain of the Golden Dawn as he walked to his seat right next to Nozzle. You're quite late, that isn't like you, the Mercury Mage spoke. My apologies, I was very busy, William said back as he sat down. And so was my squad. Your squad is always so busy, it must suck to be the best Magic Knight squad, Yami said. You should really give them a day off or something, both you and them could use a break. That doesn't sound like a bad idea, I'll consider it, William responded with a small smile. So, where's Julius? He isn't here yet, I'm sick of waiting, Jack quickly replied. Just as he finished saying that, the entrance door opened again, but this time, Marks came out of it. Hello everyone, thank you for coming. I assume you've been wondering where Julius is. Well, he's in the criminal interrogation room, and he wants you to meet him there. All the way at the bottom of headquarters, what could he want with us there? Rill wondered aloud. Let's go and find out, Nozzle replied as he and the others stood up and quietly followed the memory mage all the way to the criminal containment room. Hello everyone, I'm glad you all could make it, Julius said as he and Asta looked at the captains, lined up in front of them. Nozzle noticed the swordsman and narrowed his eyes. That Asta boy is here too, what's going on? I'll be honest with you, the reason I've called you all down here is because, Julius began. We believe one of you is a traitor and helped the Eye of the Midnight Sun attack the capital. The others gasped, unable to believe a traitor was among their ranks. So, who is it? Yami asked seriously. We're about to find out right now, Marks said as he walked to Catherine. Tell us, who's the traitor who worked with the Eye of the Midnight Sun? The one who helped us and betrayed you is the captain, the Ash Mage began saying slowly before turning her head to the one who was guilty. Quote. Of the Purple Orcus, Guldray Poizot. Everyone immediately turned to the presumed traitor. None were as mad as Nozzle though. You're the traitor. Fugolian lost his arm because of you. I'm going to enjoy cutting you up, Jack threatened. A crazy look was in his eyes. No, it's not true. I'm not the traitor, Guldray said in his defense. I don't know. I've heard some bad rumors about you. I didn't want to believe them, but it appears that they were true, Charlotte said this time. Whatever you've heard about me isn't true. I'm innocent the first tell you. Guldray exclaimed. Guldray, if you're truly innocent, then let me search your memories, Marks spoke up. If we find nothing, you'll be abstained from all guilt. The purple-clad captain grit his teeth before quickly taking out his grimoire. I won't allow that either. Permeation magic. Invisible seeker. He exclaimed as his body became invisible. What the? Where'd he go? Asta exclaimed. I'm not done yet. Permeation creation magic. Invisible troops. He continued as invisible knights formed around him. You're not taking me in, he said as he left the room and started making his way upstairs. I can't see anything. Did he cast something? Asta asked. Guldray uses permeation magic. The spell he used on himself makes him invisible and intangible. The second spell he used summoned invisible knights. While they can't be seen, their magic can still be sensed, Marks explained as Yami, Jack, Charlotte, and Nozzle quickly defeated said knights. That was easy. Now we have to go after Guldray. We can't let him escape, Nozzle said. But how? His spell makes it impossible to see him, sense him, or hit him, Charlotte countered. It can be done, Yami spoke up, grabbing their attention. We have Asta. Everyone turned to the swordsman. Asta looked at his captain. Me. That's right. Those swords of yours can negate magic, and you can use ki to track him, even if he's invisible, Yami explained. Asta pulled out the demon dweller's sword. All right, you can count on me, he said as he left the room. I think I can find him too. I know where he's going, Ril said as he left the room too. I need to get out of here. I'll leave the Clover Kingdom and stay there for a few days before meeting up with the Eye of the Midnight Sun, Gildray thought as he made it to the main floor and began running to the exit. I'm almost there. Not so fast. A voice exclaimed. Gildray turned to see Asta in the air, his sword in hand. The swordsman struck the invisible mage, sending him to the ground and making him visible again. How did you find me? Gildray exclaimed, confused someone could find him when he was invisible. Easy. I sensed your key, Asta replied as he began walking towards him. You won't get away this time, you're going to pay for what you've done. No, you won't catch me. Gildray exclaimed as he quickly got up and started running, making it outside. Sorry Gildray, but this is as far as you go. Gildray turned to his right to see Ril. A smile was on the young captain's face. I knew you'd pass by here. It's a good Asta undid your spell, he continued as he walked forward. He might have undone it, but I can recast it, the permeation mage said frantically. That's not happening, Ril said as he took out his grimoire. Picture binding magic. Spring of restriction. At his call, a swirl of colors surrounded the traitorous captain. He then began to sink. Before he knew it, he was trapped in a large portrait. There we go. He can't cast any of his spells now, Ril said as Asta came out. Don't worry, I already got him. The swordsman looked at the bound captain. Awesome. What kind of magic is that? Picture magic. It turns anything I paint into reality. One day I hope to create the greatest masterpiece ever known, Ril replied. But let's start by taking this guy back to Marks. It seems to be worse than I thought. Not only was Gildray working with the Eye of the Midnight Sun and took out the barrier mages, he abused members in his squad and accepted multiple bribes in order to increase his personal wealth, Marks said as he searched the bound Gildray's memories. Disgusting. He has no right to be called a magic knight, Charlotte said in disgust. Marks turned to some capital mages. Confiscate his grimoire and bring him to the dungeon, he said as they did so. Julius turned to the captains. I wasn't aware that Gildray was a traitor. I want all of you to interrogate your squads to assure we don't have another traitor in our ranks. Yes, sir. They all Clover saluted. Thank you. That is all. You may return to your squads, the Wizard King said. But, Yami, I'd like you and Asta to meet me in my office. Okay. The two black bulls said as they followed the time mage to his office. He went to his desk and sat down. The two of you can sit down if you like, he offered. Nah, we'll be fine, Yami replied. So, what did you want to talk to us about? Asta and Kenos already know this, but the Eye of the Midnight Sun is after objects called magic stones. That was the reason they attacked the capital. Fugolian was in possession of one. As for what they need the stones for, I don't know, Julius explained. So, what do you want us to do about it? Yami asked. We have to find the magic stones before they do, and I know the location of one. The underwater temple, Julius replied. How do you find out? Asta asked. I was informed by the Rossius. They found out about the stone's whereabouts just yesterday and sent me a letter informing me, the time mage responded again. The swordsman narrowed his eyes after hearing that family name. It wasn't that long ago since he had been to their household. I'm assigning the Black Bulls to handle it. Consider it a secret mission, Julius told them. The temple is in a strong magic region, right under the ocean of Raki, a popular beach town. A strong magic region, that sounds tough, Yami said. Julius nodded. It will be. That's why you'll wait till the full moon. That'll be your best chance of crossing it. The magic around it will be severely weaker during that time, but the full moon will be in 4 days from now. Alright then. I'll inform my squad. You can count on us. Yami Clover saluted as he and Asta left the office. I'm counting on you. Black Bulls, don't let me down. I know you can do it, Julius thought to himself. Meanwhile, a captain was walking through a hallway. They were cloaked in the shadow of the room, but then, they were cloaked in light before they walked out. And the one who walked out was Raya. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be, and here I thought this would be a big pain, the copy mage said as he formed a portal. Time to move on to the next stage, he said as he walked into it. Shades, Magna said as he walked to him. Say, did you find anything significant? Kenos wanted to tell them about the man he saw, but he wasn't sure if he was even real. He was in the room 1 second, and gone the other, then there was the lightheadedness he had shortly after seeing him. No, I didn't see anything. Oh, well that's too bad, the flame mage said. Kenos walked over to Vanessa. Where's Finral? He went outside. I think someone was calling him, she replied as he sat up. Just then, the entrance door opened and Finral walked in, with Yami and Asta behind him. Hey everyone, we're back. Hey there you two, how was your trip to the capital? Kenos asked. Yami blew smoke from his cigarette. It was alright, but Julius assigned a special secret mission for the Black Bulls. A special secret mission? They all asked. That's right, in 4 days, we're heading to Raki, that's where we'll find the underwater temple. Chapter 28. The Wind Prince and the Cotton Princess. Hey there readers, just wanted to say that OC suggestions are back up. They'll be up for about 3 weeks. It'll end on the 17th of February. I ask again that you suggest if you can for the thing I'll be doing in March. With that out of the way, enjoy the chapter. CYA. The Underwater Temple. Everyone thought together about what their captain told them. Kenos walked up. Why does the mission need us to go to this temple exactly? He asked. Yami lit a cigarette and put it in his mouth, slowly blowing out smoke. That's where we'll find a magic stone. As for how Julius knows, you could thank your parents. The solar mage narrowed his eyes. Despite how shaky his relationship was with his parents, more specifically his father, he was still grateful that they were able to help. I see. Yami looked at Kenos with a calm face before turning to everyone. As I said, we'll be heading to Raki in 4 days, so make sure you're prepared. Kenos' eyes immediately brightened once he heard those words. Wait a minute, you said we're going to Raki, right? Yeah, I've said it twice, I'm not saying it a third time, Yami replied plainly. Oh yeah, we're going to Raki. Finral exclaimed as he pumped his fist into the air. Going there would be nice, Noel added with a short nod. Asta looked at his squadmates, a confused look on his face. What's so special about Raki? It's a really popular beach town. A lot of people visit there because of its incredible climate, Finral replied. Raki is one of the kingdom's biggest tourist spots. The swordsman nodded before asking another question. And, what exactly is a beach? At the sound of those words, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief, mouths gaping open. Kenos coughed before turning to the magicless mage. Well, a beach is an enormous body of water that's accompanied by sand beside it. It's a great place to go when it's warm and sunny, he explained. Wow, this beach place sounds really cool. I was born and raised in Hage, and there weren't any large bodies of water there, Asta said. Magna walked over and wrapped his arm around the teen's shoulders. Same here. I didn't know what a beach was when I first joined, then I got to see one. Not as big as Raki, but it looked awesome nonetheless. And that's not it, Vanessa hummed as she pointed a finger up. At the beach, we also wear swimsuits, which is the traditional attire when going there. Boys would just wear shorts while girls wear a bikini. What's a bikini? Asta asked again with the same confusion as before. Some of the guys had to resist their urge to laugh. Noelle on the other hand blushed at the thought of the swordsman seeing her in such an attire. Why don't I let you find out for yourself when we go there? Vanessa replied with a sly smile as she walked over to Noelle and Charmy, placing her hands on their shoulders. Come on girls, after some time passes, we're heading over to town to go buy some swimsuits. Oh wow, I've never gone swimsuit shopping before, this could be fun, Charmy said with a small smile on her face. That's the spirit. What about you, Noelle? The water mage did her best to smile. Yeah, I'm so excited. Hours passed as night fell throughout the kingdom. It was silent, with the lights of buildings illuminating the darkness. A good few hundred feet in the air, a chariot and 2 brooms slowly flew over a town. What a day. I can't wait to get back to base. Klaus yawned before looking to his left and right, seeing Yuno and Mimosa on their brooms. Once we do, I'm getting some sleep. Mimosa nodded. Of course, you were a large factor in our mission's success. Oh, I wouldn't say that. We all did well, Klaus respectfully disagreed. No, she's right, Yuno spoke up as he turned to his superior. Your plan to split up into individual groups and ambush the enemy was pretty good, they most likely would have gotten away otherwise. The plant and steel mages gasped, they had never heard Yuno say such a thing to either of them. Klaus pushed up his glasses. Alright, start talking, who are you and what have you done with the real Yuno? The wind mage gave a look of confusion. Excuse me, I'm the real Yuno. Mimosa suspiciously raised a brow. I don't know, you've never complimented any of us before, and you did it so easily too. Bell flew out and landed on Yuno's shoulder. What are you two talking about? Would I be here if that wasn't Yuno? Yuno nodded. What she said, I guess I'm just in a good mood tonight. Mimosa and Klaus looked at each other before shrugging. Klaus spoke up. I see, to be honest, I would like it if you were always in a good mood, I could get used to this. The wind mage turned his head away from his squadmates. Don't count on it, he whispered. Ah, no, don't. A scream pierced the silence of the night. The 3 Golden Dawn quickly looked down to see that the source of the noise had come from a large building that was directly below them. Forget sleep. Somebody needs help. Get ready, Yuno, Mimosa. Klaus exclaimed as the three quickly flew down. The steel mage's chariot disappeared and Yuno and Mimosa dismounted from their brooms as they kicked the door open, grimoires ready for a fight. But as they looked around, they noticed multiple swimsuits adorning shelves. On the other side of the entrance was a young lady wearing a bikini and a jacket. She was hiding behind a counter. A swimsuit store. Where's the enemy? Klaus asked. Stop. The voice from before exclaimed again. It was coming from behind a door. There it is. Let's go. Klaus exclaimed as he ran to the door. The lady rose up from the counter as she saw him do that. Wait. Don't open that door. She attempted to warn him, but it was too late as the steel opened the door. Don't worry. The magic knights are, Klaus said, but stopped midway as he saw a sight he never thought he would see. Noelle and Vanessa from the Black Bulls were trying on swimsuits, with the former not wearing any clothes. She covered her body as she saw the mage. Shit! Klaus exclaimed as blood shot out of his nose and he fell to the ground. Mimosa and Yuno walked over to the two, with the latter covering his eyes so as to not peep on the water mage. Vanessa walked out and closed the door behind her. Get dressed, she said before turning to the three mages. What are you doing here? We heard screaming, so we came down here thinking someone was in danger, Mimosa replied. Vanessa was about to reply before Noelle exclaimed from the other side of the changing room. That's because someone was trying to get me into a swimsuit that's too small. The thread mage chuckled. What she said, the Black Bulls are going to Raki, so we're going swimsuit shopping. Raki, what for? Mimosa plainly asked. Vanessa stopped for a second, not wanting to reveal the fact that they were going on a secret mission. She thought of a quick lie. Oh, you know, just going there for a little vacation, a chance to unwind. We've been working hard lately. The plant mage had a small blush on her face. If the Black Bulls are all heading to the beach, that means Asta will be there too. I bet he would look really good, shirtless, with all those muscles. Lucky Noelle, she thought, not noticing she was drooling a bit. Klaus stood up and took out a handkerchief, wiping the blood coming down his nose. I see. I sincerely apologize for barging in like that. That's all right. I can't really blame you. Noelle was quite loud, Vanessa responded. Yuno looked at his superior. You're getting a nosebleed. Isn't that a bit disturbing? A grown man getting a nosebleed from a teenage girl. Klaus looked offended. Grown man. How old do you think I am? Yuno shrugged. I don't know, 30. I think he looks more like a 25, Mimosa added as she put a hand under her chin. I'm only 18. Klaus exclaimed, prompting looks of shock from the other two Golden Dawn. 18. They thought in their heads. Holy crap, they said. Vanessa noticed Yuno and walked up to him. Well, hello there. You're kinda cute. I don't know why, but I'm getting a familiar aura coming from you. The wind mage noticed the woman wearing nothing but a bikini before turning his head to the side. Sorry, I'm not into older women. That sounds familiar, Vanessa said, remembering the first thing Keno's ever said to her. She turned around to go check on Noelle. What in the world, Yuno? A voice then said. Yuno turned around to see Charmy not too far away. She had on a blue one-piece swimsuit. A shade of red touched the cotton mage's cheeks. It's Yuno. He's watching me with this swimsuit on. It's kind of embarrassing, she thought. The wind mage walked over to her before extending his palm out. Hey there, Charmy, how have you been? Charmy extended her own palm as they high-fived. I've been fine, and you? Great. I see, Charmy said as she twiddled her fingers nervously. Hey, can I ask you a question? Sure, Yuno said. Charmy turned around. Tell me, what do you think of my swimsuit? The wind mage scanned the shorter girl. It looks nice on you. Blue is definitely your color, he replied plainly, but that didn't matter, since it still made Charmy's face beat red. Oh, thank you very much, that means a lot, she said. Yuno looked at her as Belle flew out. The wind spirit stared down the cotton mage with a look of curiosity. Who's she? Oh, hi there, I'm Charmy Papitson, a friend of Yuno, the cotton mage introduced. I don't think we've met, but you look strangely familiar. Well, I'm the wind spirit, Sylph, but you can call me Belle. As for whether we've met or not, I don't think so, she said. We met right after we beat Catherine. You must have passed out before seeing her, Yuno explained. Oh, that explains it. Well, it's nice to meet you, Charmy, Belle said. Likewise, Belle, Charmy said back before turning to her prince. So, what are you doing here? My squadmates and I were flying over town when we heard a scream, which led us here, but it turns out it was just Noelle, he replied. Oh, that makes sense, she was hella loud. Mimosa and Klaus watched from afar as Yuno and Charmy spoke. He's talking to her so casually, Mimosa noted. I remember her though, she was at the capital with Yuno when the Eye of the Midnight Sun attacked, Klaus answered. Yuno turned around. Well, if there's no problem, I'd better be off, CYA around, he said, Belle flying behind him. Okay, bye, Charmy waved as the three Golden Dawn left the establishment. The door to the changing room opened, and Noelle walked out, dressed in her normal attire. I still can't believe Vanessa thought that would fit me, she said to herself before noticing that the Golden Dawn was gone. Did they leave? Charmy nodded as she walked into the changing room and closed the door. 5 minutes passed before she came out with her normal attire on, the swimsuit in her hand. She walked to the lady at the counter. I'd like to buy this, she said as she handed the amount of money it cost. You chose that one? Vanessa asked. She too changed back into her clothes and ended up buying the bikini she was wearing earlier. Yup. I like it. Blue is definitely my color, Charmy replied with a warm smile. The lady turned to Noelle. Are you having trouble finding one to your liking? Yes, the water mage replied. Then I suggest buying this, she said, motioning to a bikini encased in glass. It was yellow, but what stuck out was the fact that the chest part of it was adorned in what looked like diamonds. This is our most expensive pair. You're sure to have all eyes on you, if that's your intention. Noelle looked at the swimwear. Her cheeks flushed red as she pulled out her sack of money, hoping she wouldn't regret what she was about to do. I'll buy it, she said. It's a nice color and the diamonds are cute, something truly befitting of royalty. It's not like I want to impress anybody. She thought in her head as she held it in her grasp. The three girls then left the building and were on their way back to base. The sun rose over the Golden Dawn as the next day came. The rays of light shone into one room in particular, the room of the Wind Mage. He lay peacefully on his bed, wearing a dull gold two-piece nightwear. As the sun's light came over his face, he slowly opened his eyes and sat up. Turning to his left, he saw a small makeshift bed on his desk, where Belle slept. The spirit was peacefully snoring. Yuno stood up and walked to his desk. Come on, Belle. Wake up. You don't want to be late for breakfast. Belle slowly opened her eyes. All right then. She weakly flew up, resting on Yuno's shoulders. A knock was then heard on the door. Yuno, are you awake? The Wind Mage recognized the voice as Klaus. Yeah, I'm up. Good, hurry up and get dressed. Captain Vengeance wishes to speak with the whole squad before breakfast, the Steel Mage said. All right then, Yuno said as he grabbed his towel. I wonder what the captain wants to talk to us about. He wondered as he went to the shower rooms, coming back some minutes later as he put on his clothes and robe, as well as his grimoire and satchel. Soon, Yuno found himself, as well as the other members of the Golden Dawn, kneeling in front of a tall flight of stairs. At the top of the stairs stood William, and beside him was a shorter man with short brown hair. He was known as Langris Vaude, vice captain of the Golden Dawn. Good morning, everyone. I hope you've slept well. I'd like to congratulate you on the hard work you've all done. It's thanks to your achievements that the Golden Dawn remains the best squad in the kingdom, William said as the squad cheered. The captain gently raised a hand, silencing them all instantly. As such, I wish to reward you all in a special way. You will be granted a day off. Everyone gasped. Even Yuno looked a bit surprised. Klaus spoke up. But sir, I've been a part of this squad for some time now, and you've never granted us a day off. Is there another special occasion we aren't aware of? He asked. Even though he and others didn't go on missions every single day, they still had to be ready, just in case. But now, they didn't even have to do that. William kindly shook his head. No, Klaus, nothing like that at all, and if you have anyone to thank the captain of the Black Bulls, Yami Sukahiro, he replied. The Black Bulls. Everyone exclaimed in surprise, shocked their captain would ever listen to anyone from that squad. At the meeting I attended yesterday, Yami said that I should give you a day off so that we could all unwind and catch a break. I told him I'd consider it, so now, I've decided to do it. After all, it's not like you don't deserve one, the captain explained. The whole Golden Dawn stood up and Clover saluted. Thank you very much, Captain Vengeance. William and Langris saluted back to them. The former spoke up once more. You're welcome. Make sure to enjoy yourselves today. Just be ready for tomorrow, because business will resume as usual, he said before walking away, leaving the members to chat amongst themselves. This is quite unexpected. I've never had a day off since I came here. I wonder what I should do today. Klaus asked openly as he turned to Yuno, who was next to him. Mimosa and Latois walked over to the two boys. Klaus waved to them. Hello there, ladies. Have you decided on what you're going to do? I already know what I'm going to do. See you all around, Latois replied as she quickly turned and walked away. The Black Bulls most likely don't have the day off, so I can't go hang out with Luck. That means my first stop is home. I'll spend some time with my mother and see how Hans is doing, she thought with a small smile. Well, I'm just going to stay here at the base, maybe catch up on some reading, Mimosa added with a short yawn. But first, I'll get some breakfast, then go back to bed. Klaus turned to the Wind Mage. That just leaves you and me, Yuno, he said, but as he did, the younger mage began walking out of the room. Wait, you already know where you're going. I do, he replied. Belle stood on his shoulder as she smiled. Yes, This day off is the perfect opportunity for that date you owe me. Yuno ignored her as he kept walking, exiting the room. The steel mage watched as his other squadmates began leaving the room, each heading to their own destinations. Klaus balled up his fist and lightly slammed it on his palm. All right then. The first thing to do is my daily training. I can't wait to show Asta how much stronger I've become thanks to him. Then after that, I suppose I could just take a stroll, he said as he too left the room. Outside the entrance to Golden Dawn HQ, Yuno stood there with his broom in hand. Setting it down, he stood on it as he soared into the sky. I know exactly what I want to do during this day off, he thought as a small smile touched his face. Eat up, everyone, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Charmy exclaimed as she handed out breakfast to everyone. Thanks, Magna said as he stuffed his face with food. Once he swallowed it, he turned to the females of the Black Bulls. So, how'd your swimsuit shopping last night go? Noelle turned her face away from the flame mage. I'd rather not say. In total contrast, Charmy had a big smile on her face. It was incredible. Vanessa, however, gave Magna a sly grin. Why do you want to know? Do you wish you were there, you virgin delinquent? What? No, I was just trying to start a conversation, and don't call me that. Magna exclaimed. Whatever, I'm pretty sure you're all virgins anyways, Yami commented nonchalantly as he walked into the area, flipping a page of his newspaper. Good morning, Captain Yami, everyone greeted. Morning all. Say, have any of you seen Asta? For some odd reason, I didn't wake up to the sound of screaming. The dark mage asked. He and Kenos walked out about a few minutes ago, said they were going to do some training for a few hours, Luck replied. Charmy held a plate in her hand. Here Captain, something to eat. Yami took the plate with one hand. Thanks, Charmy, he said before sitting down on his chair and taking a bite of bread. Make sure you all do some training too. Our trip to Raki is in 3 days, we don't know what threats might come up, but regardless of what it'll be, you all should be prepared. Understood, they all responded before they heard a knock on the door. Are Asta and Kenos back already? That was quick, Magna said. It can't be them, they live here, why would they need to knock? Noelle said back. Ooh, maybe it's Latois, perhaps she finally agreed to fight me, Luck ecstatically stated as he ran to the door and opened it wide. It's about, he was going to say, but stopped. The person at the door wasn't Latois, but Yuno. Charmy stopped eating once she saw who was at the door. It's my meal-saving prince. Hey, I remember you, you're that wind guy from the dungeon, you were really strong. Say, do you want to have a quick fight? No, Yuno replied as he walked past the lightning mage and looked around, his facial features not showing what he thought of the base. Hello there, it's good to see you again, Noelle greeted. Likewise, oh, and I'm not sure if you heard, but Klaus apologized for barging in on you last night, Yuno said. It's all right, I don't blame him, someone else was responsible, she said, quickly glaring at Vanessa. Yami looked up to see Yuno. So, another person from the Golden Boys squad is here, what do you want? Do you need one of my squad here to accompany you on a mission or something? No, Captain Vengeance gave us the day off, he said you were responsible, the Wind Mage replied. What? He actually took what I said seriously, I was just joking, Yami said with a bit of surprise. So, did you come here to thank me? No, but I can do that right now, Yuno said as he bowed and said his thanks. I actually was looking for Asta, I was hoping we could spend my day off together, I haven't seen him since the attack on the capital. Oh, I'm afraid he's not here right now, he and Kenos just left a little while ago to train, Vanessa told him. That's all right, I don't mind waiting, Yuno said. I wouldn't bet on him coming soon. Those two don't come back for a good amount of hours, not to mention we aren't even sure of their exact training spot, so we can't even tell you where they are, Magna said. I see, that's unfortunate, when he comes back tell him I stopped by, I'll have to find something else to do, Yuno said as he turned around and started walking towards the door. Yuno, wait, Charmy exclaimed as she jumped from her seat and ran to him. Yuno turned to face the cotton mage. Yeah, is something the matter? Charmy's cheeks turned red as she replied to his question. Well, I was just wondering, if Asta can't join you, would you mind, if I took his place? Yuno's eyes widened a bit. You mean that you want to spend the day with me? He asked as Charmy shyly nodded. The others watched the interaction between the two, Vanessa raised a brow and gave a knowing grin. Oh, so that's how it is, and here I thought there was no one more special to her than food. I wouldn't mind bringing you, but I also owe Belle a date, Yuno said as the spirit flew out, he turned to her. Hey, do you mind if Charmy comes along? The spirit held her chin in thought. I don't mind, besides, this could be a great chance to get to know each other. Well, that settles it. Charmy exclaimed as they began walking out. Hold it, a voice said, the two turned to see Yami, still on his chair. I think you're forgetting to ask a certain someone if you can leave. Oh, well, can I go, Captain? Charmy asked. I don't know. Your last day off wasn't even 3 days ago, Yami began, but then stopped and sighed. But, since we have that, he looked up at Yuno. Mission in a few days, I guess you could go. Thank you so much, Captain, Charmy said gratefully before turning to the Golden Dawn. Now, let's get moving, after you. The two walked outside. Yuno stood on his broom as it floated a few inches above the ground. He looked at the black bull. Where's your broom? Oh, I don't use one, she replied as she took out her grimoire. Cotton magic. Cloud of wool. At her call, a medium-sized cloud of cotton appeared in front of her. She jumped onto it as it floated into the air. Oh, you fly with a spell construct like Klaus does, Yuno stated. I don't mind using my broom though. Let's go. The two then flew into the sky. So, where are we headed? Charmy asked. I'm not really sure. Got any suggestions? The wind mage asked back. I know. Let's go to a nice and quiet place, with a good view of the kingdom, Belle suggested. Then Yuno and I could spend a few minutes looking lovingly into each other's eyes. Her cheeks flushed as she closed her eyes and held her face. No, sorry Belle, but there's no way I'm doing that, Yuno bluntly stated. What? No fair. Belle exclaimed. Yuno turned to Charmy. What about you? Why don't we go to the capital? We're bound to find something to do, she suggested. Okay. I like that one. You in, Belle? Yeah, count me in. The two then increased their speed. 10 minutes passed before they landed in the capital. Charmy undid her spell and Yuno held onto his broom. The cotton mage turned to her partner and focused on his broom. It must be a hassle to carry that. I think I have a spell for it. Cotton magic. Shrinking cloud containment, he said as a cloud of cotton appeared next to the wind mage. Put your broom on it. Yuno did so. The cloud then covered the broom before shrinking into a puff of cotton and floated onto Yuno's shoulder. Belle rested her head on the cloud. So comfy, she said. Thanks, Yuno added as they started walking, passing by numerous market stands, already open despite the day just beginning. Wow, I didn't know the capital was this lively in the morning, Yuno stated, noting all the people passing by. He also took in the smell. And the food they're selling smells pretty good too. Once he finished saying that, his stomach growled. Did you not have breakfast? Charmy asked. Yuno shook his head. No, I forgot to get some before leaving my squad base. You should have told me. I could have made you something before we left, Charmy lightly scolded him. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yuno took note of the passion she had when saying that and lightly smiled. So, should we stop by one of the food stands to get something to eat? No way. All these food stands just serve appetizers. We need something to really fill your stomach, the cotton mage replied as she started looking around, but then she stopped. I know the perfect place to go. Follow me. The two then walked a good distance away. Arriving at a large building, they saw staircases on the side and began their ascent to the top. Why does this place look familiar? Yuno asked. This is the place where we first met, after we beat Catherine, Charmy replied. There's someone I'd like to see. Once they made it to the top, Charmy knocked on the door in front of them. I'm coming, a voice said from the other side. The door then opened, revealing a familiar face. Head chef, it's good to see you again, Charmy respectfully greeted. Ah, the two knights who saved us from the witch, it's an honor, please come in, the head chef said as he let the two inside. They quickly noted the smell of many different foods. What can I do for you? Head chef, my friend Yuno has not had breakfast yet, Charmy replied with a tone of comedic seriousness. Hasn't had breakfast. But that's the most important meal of the day, he said. I know, as such, we've come to you. I request that you make him a meal fit for a prince, Charmy said. Consider it done. I still owe you for saving us, the head chef said as he turned around. Follow me, let us head to the kitchen. The two followed the man into another. It was empty, without a person in sight, but they could still feel the heat from the furnace and smell the glorious aroma of food as it wafted around the room. You two can sit there. The head chef pointed to two chairs in front of a large counter. Next to them were an array of ingredients. I was going to bake some bread today and bring it to the market to sell, so you two can help me make some, and once your loaves are done, you can have them along with some other stuff for breakfast. Thank you very much, the two magic knights said. So Yuno, have you ever baked bread before? Charmy asked. I haven't, but I'm willing to try, the wind mage replied as he turned to his spirit. Hey Belle, do you want to join us? Sure, I don't see why not. I've never baked bread either. It could be fun, she replied as she flew down. I'm going to see how everyone else is doing, the head chef said as he walked out of the room. Okay, start by putting the yeast and sugar in some warm water, Charmy instructed as they all did so. They then moved on to the dry ingredients. Once mixed, they added the yeast mixture and began kneading the dough. This is a mandatory step, as it's done to work the gluten in the bread. If the dough gets too sticky, you can add more flour, Charmy continued. Yuno noticed his dough was becoming just that, so he plunged his hand into a bag of flour, and began scattering it around his dough, in an oddly unprofessional manner, resulting in flour landing on his face. Charmy lightly chuckled as Yuno's face turned into one of slight embarrassment. Yuno, got flour on your face? Here, let me help you, the cotton mage said as she grabbed a nearby damp towel and got close to wipe his face. Her cheeks turned rosy. Oh wow, I'm really close to him, she thought nervously as she finished and backed away. Thanks, Yuno said. Charmy nodded as they continued. Hey look, I'm doing it. Belle exclaimed cheerfully as she kneaded a rather small lump of dough. Okay, once we're done kneading, we have to place the dough into a greased pan, Charmy said as she found two pans, placing hers and Yuno's in respective pans, with Belle's on top of Yuno's. She then put them into the open oven. Wow, that was a lot of work, Yuno commented. It was, but I'm impressed, Yuno, Charmy said. Your dough looked so good, and you received only the minimal amount of instructions from me, you're so cool. Yuno's eyes widened a bit. You think I'm cool? Charmy nodded as Belle flew up to him. She's not the only one. I think it's super cool how you're so strong and stoic. Yuno turned his head away from the two. Look, I'm not as cool as you think. Charmy looked a bit concerned. What do you mean? The wind mage's cheeks began to flush red with embarrassment. Well, for starters, when I was a kid, I used to cry a lot. Charmy and Belle widened their eyes. Neither of them could imagine Yuno crying. The former stepped up. There's nothing wrong with crying. That's perfectly fine. You're human, we show emotions. I don't mind either, Belle added. But it's not just that. When I was young, I was emotionally weak. Asta was always the stronger one between us. He would never give up, no matter what. I looked up to him back then, and even now I still do, Yuno explained. I wanted to become strong like him, so I shut myself off from how I visually felt. I stopped crying. I made sure not to let my emotions show. What you two call cool, I call trying to be like Asta in my own way. The three stood in silence. 15 minutes passed without anybody saying a single word, just trying not to look each other in the eye. Eventually, Charmy broke that silence. It's all right, if that's how you see yourself, I don't mind. I won't pry into your personal life, but if I could suggest something. She turned and looked Yuno in the eye. He returned the look as she gave him a warm smile. It wouldn't hurt to let your emotions show sometimes, at least, for the people you trust the most. Yuno looked at her and Belle as he did something that genuinely shocked the two of them. There was a big, happy smile on his face. Sure, I guess I wouldn't mind doing that. Charmy and Belle's faces turned beet red. Holy shit, he's even more handsome when he smiles, they thought together. The wind mage's face returned to normal as he smelt something. As the bread done? Oh, it is, that was fast, Charmy replied as she grabbed some mitts and carried the bread to the counter. Now all we have to do is let them cool just a bit. Warm bread tastes great. I can handle that, Yuno said as he blasted the bread with a low level of wind for about a minute. Perfect, Charmy said as all three of them gave a thumbs up to each other. The head chef then walked in. Hey there you two, I see you've finished your bread, those look really good, I think we can start breakfast now, he said before clapping. On cue, other chefs began walking in, each holding dishes and placing them on the counter. Wow, eggs, meat, potatoes, fruit, and pastries, Yuno said, looking at everything in front of them. And don't forget the butter, the head chef added as he placed it in front of them as well. It's not right to eat bread without butter. Thank you very much, head chef, the three said. No problem, enjoy, we have work to do, the head chef replied as he and the others left the kitchen. Let's eat, Charmy cheered. The two began by taking their bread out of their pans. With a knife they cut a slice and covered it in butter. Yuno took a bite. Wow, that tastes great. I know, so good, Belle added. The three began to dig into the other dishes. Half an hour passed before they finished eating their fill. Not bad, they said. So Yuno, what did you think of breakfast? Charmy asked. It all tasted good, but, he began to reply. Quote. I'd like to try your cooking next time. Charmy nervously smiled and looked away. Sure, I would like that too. I would like to try your cooking too, Belle said. Why not? You can stop by the Black Bull's base anytime, the cotton mage told her. Yuno stood up. Well, we should leave, we have other things to do. Okay, Charmy said as she stood up as well. Belle flew onto Yuno's shoulder, they then left the building. What's next? Yuno asked. Let's go over there, Charmy suggested as she pointed at a clothes shop. The two walked over there and entered. They weren't planning on buying anything, but they did want to try on what they could. Taking off their magic night robes, they tried on an array of shirts, shorts, and hoodies, complementing each other each time. Belle stood by, watching them. After that, They went by the stands that sold objects, looking around for something not too expensive to buy. They then came across an array of bracelets that were the same color and design, but different sizes. Charmy and Yuno bought 3 white and green bracelets for the two of them and Belle. Hours passed as they did more activities. The sun was close to setting. They were then walking down an open street. That was so much fun, Charmy said. So, what do you want to do next? Yuno asked. Enough of what I want to do. What do you want to do? You haven't suggested anything all day, Charmy said. Okay then, Yuno said back as he grabbed the puff of cloud on his shoulder, letting it drop to the ground. It grew and opened up, revealing his broom. He stood on it. Follow me. All right, Charmy responded as she formed her cloud and stood on it. The two flew into the sky. She looked at the wind mage. So, where are we going? We should be there in a few minutes, Yuno replied as they continued flying. A few minutes passed and they landed in an open meadow. What is this place? Charmy asked with a look of awe. This is where I train. It's a nice and quiet spot, Yuno replied. I brought you here because I want to fight you. Fight? Yeah, back at the attack on the capital, you were able to beat Catherine, but I didn't see it. I've been wondering how strong you are. After all, you are a magic knight, Yuno clarified. As that's so, Charmy said as she took her grimoire out. Sure, bring it on. Nice, Yuno said as he did the same. Wind creation magic. Swift white hawk. He exclaimed as the wind construct formed and raced towards his opponent. Charmy quickly jumped back on her cloud and flew out of the way of the attack. She flew up into the air and jumped off, descending towards Yuno. Not bad. Now it's my turn. Cotton creation magic. Strike of the sleeping sheep. She exclaimed as the sheep formed midair, ready to strike. An aerial attack. I wasn't expecting that. Wind magic. Towering tornado. Yuno exclaimed as the large tornado appeared, thrusting both Charmy and her sheep into the air. The sheep was dispelled as Charmy formed another cloud and tried to fly in close. Wow, you're really good, Charmy said with a smile. So are you. That was a quick recovery you pulled off, Yuno said back, returning the smile. Hey Yuno, am I going to get to join the fight? Belle asked. Not at the moment. Spirit magic is really strong, but we haven't used it too much. I don't want to hurt her by mistake, Yuno replied. Okay, she said, nodding her understanding. I need to approach this differently. His attribute is wind, which allows for quick attacks and quick movement, so maybe I should stop him from moving, Charmy thought as she flew towards him as fast as she could, her grimoire flipping through pages. Here I come. Bring it, Yuno called, preparing to attack. Not so fast. Cotton binding magic. Restraining coils. Charmy exclaimed as 6 lines of cotton twisted around Yuno, holding him in place. Damn it, I can't move my arms, Yuno noted. Sorry if it's a bit uncomfortable, but this won't take long. Let's try this again. Cotton creation magic. Strike of the sleeping sheep. She exclaimed as the giant sheep appeared once more. This is going to hurt, Yuno muttered. Make sure to hold back. Sheep, I don't want to hurt him too much, Charmy instructed as the sheep reeled its fist back and brought it forward with great speed towards the wind mage. Yuno. Belle exclaimed as she flew in front of him and blew, sending a strong gust of wind at the sheep. However, the sheep still had strength and began to slowly bring its fist forward. I won't let you. The spirit mentally exclaimed as she increased the strength, successfully pushing the sheep back. I did it. Belle exclaimed before she turned and blew at Yuno, pushing him away in order to create distance between him and Charmy. Hey, Yuno exclaimed as he landed on his stomach, the cotton restraints soon disappearing. Sorry Yuno, I had to, Belle said. It's all right, but that was close, I have to finish this quickly. Yuno exclaimed as green mana exuded from him. Charmy looked a little worried. What is he doing? His mana is growing. This failed during the mission in the dungeon, but it won't fail now, I'll make sure of it. Yuno exclaimed to himself. This fight might have been short, Charmy, but I appreciate it, thank you. Wind creation magic. Swift white hawk plus wind blade shower. At his call, the 2 different spells formed in front of him, Charmy gasped. A double spell. I didn't know he could do that, she said as the spell raced towards her, ripping right through her sheep and crashing right next to her. The strong wind that accompanied it blew her away a good amount of feet. The aura around her grimoire disappeared as it dropped to the ground. The cotton mage slowly got up as Yuno flew over to her. Damn, you beat me. True, but you were close to winning too. You would have gotten me if it wasn't for Belle, Yuno said. No problem, Belle said. The two looked up into the sky. It was a beautiful shade of orange. We should head back to our bases, Yuno said. You know how to get to your base from here. I do, Charmy replied. Yuno turned around and was about to walk away, but he stopped and turned again. A smile was on his face. Today was fun. I enjoyed it. Same here. Oh, and can you bend down? There's something I want to tell you, Charmy said with a nervous tone at the end. Okay, Yuno said as he did so, but was surprised as Charmy gave him a peck on the cheek. That's to say thanks for agreeing to take me with you, she said with a blush as she showed her bracelet. Yuno straightened himself as he and Belle showed their bracelets too. You're welcome. Let's go, Belle. We have work tomorrow, he said as he stood on his broom. Bye, Charmy. Bye, Belle, the cotton mage said back as she jumped onto her cloud. The two then flew in opposite directions, each heading to their own bases. They would never forget this day, and they would always remember how fun it was to spend the day with the other. Chapter 29. Helping an Old Friend, Part 1. Good morning, everyone, Chami greeted as she walked out of the hallway. Morning, Charmy, the others greeted back. The cotton mage let out a yawn. Yesterday had been one of the greatest days of her life, spending time with Yuno and Belle. She was almost worried that it was just a dream, but when she saw the white and green bracelet on her desk, she knew it was real. Okay, everyone, it's official. Charmy's the last person to wake up today, Yami stated, followed by a nod of everyone who was present. Wait, what? Charmy exclaimed. I'm usually one of the first people to get up. You all must be starving since I didn't make breakfast. Don't worry, I'll whip up something quick for you all. Don't worry about it. There were leftovers from yesterday's late night dinner, so we just had Magna reheat it and ate it for breakfast, Finneral explained. Well, that's a relief. I better fix up something for myself, Charmy said as her sheep cooks appeared and made her breakfast. The cotton mage took a bite when Vanessa walked up to her. How odd, Charmy, this is the first time you've ever woken up last. I guess you must have really tired after the outing with your boyfriend, she whispered in her ear, putting emphasis on the last word. Charmy's face turned red as she put her food down, something she's never done. It isn't like that, she said, turning her face away from the older woman. You don't have to lie, Charmy, it's okay, I won't tell anyone, Vanessa whispered again with a giggle. Oh okay, maybe I do like him, a little bit, Charmy said back nervously, her face only becoming redder. Just a little bit, Vanessa raised a brow. Hey, where's everyone else? Some people aren't here. Charmy asked, desperately trying to change the subject. The thread mage internally sighed, already seeing that she's teased the girl enough. Asta and Kenos went out to train again, and Noelle is getting some fresh air outside, she replied before walking away. Damn you, Vanessa, Charmy thought as she dug into her breakfast. Outside, Noelle was walking not too far from the base, taking a leisurely stroll, enjoying the light of the sunny day. What a beautiful day. I just feel like doing nothing today, she said aloud as she walked to a patch of flowers and kneeled down in front of them. Picking one up, she smiled at its sweet scent. I can't wait for our trip to Raki. I'm going to have so much fun, and I can't wait for Asta to see me in my. She started musing, but stopped herself midway as she realized what she was about to say. Her cheeks went red and she held her face. Wait a minute, what the hell am I saying? I'm not excited about that at all. Besides, it's not that he would care anyway, he would be off doing something else, shirtless, she thought. Damn it, damn it, damn it, what's going on with me today? Is this about what happened with Charmy and Yuno yesterday? She mentally exclaimed, crushing the flower in her hand. Excuse me, a voice said from above Noelle. The water mage didn't recognize it and decided to look up. But once she did, her eyes widened in shock. In front of her was a grown man. He was pretty tall, had short messy red hair, and a stubble beard, but that's not what shocked Noelle. It was the fact that this man was completely naked, leaving nothing to the imagination, literally nothing. The man lightly chuckled as he scratched the back of his head. Sorry to bother you, miss, but if it's possible, can I? He was beginning to say before he was met with an ear-piercing shriek. Pervert, Noelle exclaimed. The man looked baffled. I'm sorry, what? Get away from me, she continued to scream, getting up and running towards the base. Hey, wait, don't run, the man said, quickly running behind. You better stay back, Noelle exclaimed, taking her wand out, she quickly turned around and pointed it at the man. Don't come any closer, she yelled, making sure not to look at the thing in between his legs. The man obeyed and stopped. Just wait a minute, this is just a big misunderstanding, let me explain, you see, I've come here. He didn't get to finish as the door to the base burst open, and standing there was all the present black bulls, even Gordon and Gray were there. Their gazes immediately fell on the red-haired stranger, widening a bit once they noticed he wasn't wearing any clothes. What's the matter, Noelle? We heard a scream. Vanessa seriously asked. Noelle put her wand away, and ran into the arms of the thread mage. That pervert came up to me, I don't know what he wants, but I don't trust him. As that's so, Yami said before looking at the man. Didn't think there would be any perverts around these parts, I've always wanted to kill one. Got that right, nobody messes with one of our own, Magna added. You must have been so scared, Noelle, Vanessa said softly as she caressed her squadmate's head, she then turned to the cotton mage who was beside her. Hey Charmy, do you want to tie this sicko up, or should I do it? She asked in a more menacing tone. Don't worry, I got this, Charmy replied in the same tone. The man began to back up. I don't think you understand, I'm here too. Once more, he was interrupted as Charmy took out her grimoire. Cotton binding magic. Restraining coils. She exclaimed as the man was bound, quickly dropping to the ground as he tried to escape. There's no point in trying to get away, Yami said, before he gave his signature intimidating glare. Magna, Luck, bring his ass in, we're going to teach him a lesson he'll never forget. You got it, Captain, the two mages replied in unison as they zoomed to the man, each grabbing a leg and dragging him inside the base. Wait, no, just hear me out, no, no. He exclaimed as he was pulled inside, the doors to the base then closed. The red-haired man was about to face the wrath of the Black Bulls. Here I go. Kenos exclaimed those words as he ran towards Asta, his staff in hand, while Asta was currently holding the Demon Slayer sword, with the Demon Dweller sword lodged into the ground a few feet away from them. Bring it on, Kenos. Asta exclaimed as he dodged the Solar Mage's multiple strikes. Okay then, get ready. Kenos nodded, preparing himself, but soon found himself on the ground, beneath Asta's sword. Damn it, it happened again, I wasn't expecting you to swipe my legs, he said. Asta helped him up. Learned that one from Sylvester, that is how he beat me during our fight. It seems I'm not the only one learning from Vase, Kenos said. Recently, the Solar Mage had been trying to learn how to properly read ki, so he enlisted the swordsman to help him. Their training would include sparring. Then Asta would tell Kenos he was about to attack, but not how or when. It was Kenos' job to try to use ki to figure that out, but unfortunately, he's fell short every single time. I still don't know what I'm doing wrong, Kenos sighed. Based on what Captain Yami said, along with the training we've been doing, I thought I would have gotten the hang of it by now. I'm not too sure either, but we have to keep trying, Asta told him. Or maybe, I should just give up, Kenos said with a defeated tone. Asta's eyes widened. Give up, Kenos nodded. That's right, perhaps learning ki just isn't for everyone. There are things that people could train their entire lives for and never learn. Maybe that's just how it is with me and ki. It's alright, I can still learn other stuff. Asta dropped his sword and held his squadmate's shoulders, looking him firmly in the eyes. Don't say that. You already said that at the cave when we fought Valtos. You just need to keep trying. If you give up, how will you ever know if you can do it or not? I know it'll be frustrating, but you can't give up. Not giving up is the rule I've chosen to live by. Kenos turned his gaze away from the swordsman. I did it again. I doubt my own ability. And once more, he's here to help me, a commoner with no magic whatsoever. He knows firsthand how cruel life can be. But he never gives up. My struggle to master ki is nothing compared to what he's faced in his life, he thought. Okay. Asta raised a brow in confusion as he let go of the Solar Mage's shoulders. Excuse me. Kenos turned his head back to look the magicless mage in the eye. I promise that from now on, I'll never doubt myself, I'll do my best to learn ki, and most importantly, I'll never give up. Asta grinned. That's the spirit. Then it's a promise, he said, fashioning his hand into a fist. What are you doing? Kenos asked with a confused look. Giving you a fist bump, so that you don't forget your promise, Asta simply answered. But, isn't that what you do with Yuno, to remember the promise you made to each other that you'd fight to see who would become the Wizard King, and take Julius's place after his time is over? Kenos asked once more. Yeah, so, the fist bump between you seems important, we should try to do something else for my promise, Kenos replied before he thought of something. I know, solar creation magic, solar construct, blade. He exclaimed as the weapon quickly materialized, he then raised it up and brung it down to strike the swordsman. What in the? Asta exclaimed as he quickly pulled the Demon Slayer from the ground and met his attack. Are you trying to kill me or something? No, this will be the way to remember my promise to you. Two blades clashing, neither one giving up. It'll represent the fact that I won't give up either, Kenos explained as he undid the spell. Should we head back? Nah, you can go if you want. I still have to do my workout. I'll meet you back at the base, Asta replied. All right then, Kenos said as he started walking away from their training spot. Two blades clashing, neither one giving up. I'll never give up. I'm going to learn ki, and once I do, he began thinking, but stopped when he felt his foot hit something. What the? He asked aloud as he bent down to see what he hit. His eyes widened once he saw that it was a pair of brown boots. Beside it was a long-sleeved white shirt, long blue pants, and a green coat. Clothes. Do these belong to somebody? Kenos asked himself as he picked them up. Well, once I get back to the hideout, I'll organize a search for the owner. He kept walking forward, but ended up bumping into something else. What did I hit this time? He said, but as looked down, his eyes widened. In front of him was a grimoire. Inside of a satchel, the grimoire was turned around so he couldn't see the clover on it. The solar mage walked up and took the item. Now I really need to organize that search. The solar mage kept walking, smiling. Once the base was visible, he opened the door. Hey everyone, I'm back, how's it? He began saying, but stopped as he noticed everyone together in the center of the room. Moving up, he gasped to see a man tied up. A towel was laid on his lower area, and he was covered with an assortment of bruises. Who is this, and what are you doing to him? Kenos asked seriously. The man noticed what Kenos was holding and widened his eyes, but didn't get to say anything as Luck stepped forward. This guy is a pervert. He was trying to assault Noel outside butt naked, so we dragged him in here and beat the crap out of him. We were going to kill him, but then we remembered that you and Asta haven't gotten a hit in yet, he explained. Kenos looked menacingly at the man. As that's so? He asked, dropping the things he was holding before taking out his grimoire. Solar creation magic. Solar construct. Gauntlet. He exclaimed as he equipped the weapon. There we go, get a good few hits in, Magna told him. Will do, Kenos responded as he walked to the man, raising his fist into the air. Prepare for the pain, you disgusting bastard. Just then, the door burst open behind them and a voice shouted. Hey there everyone, what are my squadmates up to today? It was Asta, but the man's eyes widened again once he heard that voice. Asta, what are you doing here? Kenos asked. I thought you were doing your workout. I was, but then I realized that I forgot something for one of my exercises in my room, the swordsman explained before realizing his friends were all congregated together. What are you all doing? Oh, from what I've been told, there was a naked pervert trying to assault Noel, so we're all taking turns beating his ass, Kenos replied. What? A pervert? Asta exclaimed, his grimoire coming out as he drew the demon dweller's sword. Let me at him. The swordsman charged forward, ready to attack, but once he got close enough to see who the man was, he stopped, his eyes widened with surprise. No way. Is there a problem, Asta? Yami asked with a raised brow. Old man Zell, Asta said in a soft tone, putting his sword down as he put it back into his grimoire. The man called Zell weakly chuckled. Hey there Asta, long time no see. Wait a minute, you know this guy? Ghosh asked. Asta nodded. Yeah, this is Fanzel Kruger, an old friend of mine, he's no pervert. Then why was he naked when he came up to me? I don't think I'll ever be able to remove that image from my head, Noel challenged. That's just because being naked is a thing he does, it'll happen randomly, trust me, he's not a threat, Asta told them all. Alright then, Charmy said as she undid Fanzel's restraints. Please accept our sincerest apologies, everyone said as they bowed in front of Fanzel. The man waved a hand. Please don't worry about it, I'm not holding anything against any of you. I'm just glad Asta came when he did, he said before turning to the swordsman. So Asta, I see you've become a magic knight, and you joined the Black Bulls, good for you. Thanks, old man Zell, Asta said back. And these are my squadmates, he continued as he introduced everyone. Fanzel sighed. It's nice to meet you all, but Asta, you know you don't have to call me an old man, I'm only 28, he said before wincing in pain. Oh, let me heal your injuries, Kenos said as he walked to him, his grimoire flipping through pages. Solar recovery magic. Healing rays of the dawn, he placed his hands on Fanzel's shoulders as he glowed orange. Thanks, I'm starting to feel better. Oh, and those clothes along with the grimoire you found belong to me, thanks for bringing them here, he said gratefully as Kenos let go of him and let him put his clothes on. So, how exactly do you know this guy, Asta? Finneral asked. Old man Zell and I go way back, he was the one who taught me how to use the Demon Slayer's sword when I first got it back in Hage, before I became a magic knight, Asta replied. Kenos' eyes widened. He taught you. I thought you taught yourself. Asta closed his eyes and gave a carefree wave. Oh silly Kenos, I'm from the Forsaken Realm, do you really think I'd know how to use a sword on my own? The solar mage thought back and remembered that this was the same boy who didn't know what a beach was. Yeah, that makes sense. It's true, I remember when I first met Asta, it's good to see that he hasn't changed, Fanzel said as he thought back. Flashback. Some months ago. Hage Village. 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000. Asta exclaimed as he brought his sword for the 2000th time. It had been 3 days since he obtained his grimoire and defeated the chain mage Revchi who had tried to steal Yuno's 4-leaf clover grimoire. Now the newly appointed swordsman was in his usual training spot, within the skull of the ancient demon god. Now that I have this sword which can nullify magic somehow, becoming the Wizard King just became possible, now I have to train with it until I become a master. Asta exclaimed, raising his sword into the air before bringing it down for the 2001st time. He sighed. I think that I need a more complex way to train with my sword, Thanks to my previous exercise, I've become accustomed to the sword's weight, but that isn't enough, I need something else. Just then, the magicless mage heard a voice. He turned around to see that it was coming from a different part of the skull not too far away. Is someone else here? Perhaps it's one of the kids trying to scare me, Asta thought as he walked in the direction of the sound. Nice try, but you won't scare me. Asta then exclaimed, jumping to see who it was, but was surprised to see that it wasn't one of the kids, but a man with messy red hair and a stubble beard, but the immediate thing Asta noticed was that the man wasn't wearing any clothes. Holy crap, who are you? The swordsman exclaimed, backing up, readying his sword. The man put his hands up. Sorry there, I didn't mean to scare you. Asta looked at the man, he didn't look like a threat. Okay then, why are you naked? I was taking a bath near here when I heard someone screaming, so I came to check it out, but I forgot to put my clothes back on, the man explained before bringing his hand forward. My name is Fanzel Kruger, but you can also call me Zell. Nice to meet you, old man Zell. My name is Asta, the boy said, bringing his own hand forward as they shook. So Asta, what exactly are you doing here? This is where I train. I've been coming here for years, but now I'm training extra hard to take the Magic Knights exam in a few months, Asta replied. You want to join the Magic Knights? Well, good luck, Fanzel said before taking note of Asta's large sword. That's a pretty rusty sword. Do you use blade magic or something? Nope, I don't have any magic power, but somehow I got this grimoire 3 days ago that gives me a sword which can negate magic, he replied. No magic. That's something I've never heard of before. So, are you new to swords or are you experienced? I've never held a sword in my life before this one. I've grown accustomed to holding it, but I've never been in a real fight where I needed sword skills, Asta told him. Fanzel held his chin. I see, well, you're in luck, you just happen to be looking at a master swordsman. If you want, I can teach you. You can teach me, yes, I would really appreciate that. Asta exclaimed starry-eyed. Okay then, I just have to go back and get my clothes and grimoire, then we could head to the hut I constructed. That's where I'm living for the time being, Fanzel said as he did so. Asta then followed him to his small home. The swordsman looked in awe at the open amount of space that was around him. This area is beautiful. Thanks, but now we can begin, Fanzel said as he looked around him and picked up a stick. His grimoire then came up. Wind creation magic. Emperor of slashing winds. At his call, the stick became enveloped in wind, the wind then fashioning itself into a blade around the stick. Wow, that's so cool, and you use wind magic. I know someone who does too, Asta said in awe. That's good, then you already have an idea of how my attribute works. Come at me, Fanzel said as he positioned himself. Asta did the same before he quickly charged forward, bringing his sword up. Take this. So that's how you attack, Fanzel noted as wind surrounded him, thrusting him into the air, letting him dodge the attack. The wind mage landed a few feet behind the swordsman. I can already see your first problem. You're too direct. The one thing a swordsman must never do is rush into battle just flinging their swords around with no clear direction. You must add technique to your fighting. Oh, I understand, Asta said. Fanzel smiled. Good, now come at me again. Asta grinned in return. Yes sir. End flashback. I've come a long way since then, Asta said with a smile on his face. Wait a minute, Noel interrupted. If you weren't a pervert, what were you trying to tell me? I was coming here to ask for help, seeing that you're Magic Knights. I'm looking for my wife, Fanzel replied. Your wife, you're still looking for her? Asta asked. He remembered during their training that Fanzel mentioned he had a wife, but didn't know where she was. Fanzel nodded as Yami stepped up. Could you tell us her name? Dominant Code, Fanzel answered. Vanessa and Noel both widened their eyes at the sound of that name. Did you say Code? Yes, that's right. Does it sound familiar? Noelle pulled out her wand. Code was the name of the merchant who sold me this. Yeah, she's a well-known merchant in the black market, Vanessa added. Yes, Domina was always into selling things, the wind mage said as he sighed with relief. I've finally found her. It's been months since I last saw her face. Okay then, this shouldn't be too hard, just take this guy to the black market, simple enough, Yami said. He's right, we better get moving right now, Keno said as he turned to the spatial mage. Hey Finneral, can you make a portal to the black market? Finneral shook his head. Sorry, I've never been to the black market before. Okay, no problem, we can just fly to Kika. Let's get moving before it gets late, the solar mage said as he started walking towards the door. But suddenly, a ball of fire broke right through the window to the door's right, shattering it. Every single person was on high alert. What the hell just happened? Magna asked. Kenos pressed his back against the door and started moving towards the window to the door's left. Peering out of it, he saw mages in cloaks, standing in the trees and on the ground. The solar mage paid closer attention to what they were wearing. Shit. What is it? Noel asked. Kenos turned to them. It's a group of mages from the Diamond Kingdom. The Diamond Kingdom? What the hell are they doing here? Ghosh asked. They must be here after me, Fanzel spoke up. Why would they be after you? Kenos asked this time. Well, that's because, Fanzel began to explain as he took out his grimoire, revealing the front of it. Everyone but Asta gasped seeing that the grimoire didn't have a clover on it. But a diamond. Quote. I'm a refugee from the Diamond Kingdom, a former commander of their army, and it seems they've sent mages to come and kill me.